Welcome, people. Today on the Enterprise Corner, and welcome to everybody as we're going through the conversation on depth. So, in other words, everyone, hello and welcome to you. We are hoping that you are going to enjoy today's session. Please give us a word on what your name is, where you are joining us from, what you expect from today. We're going to be following up next week where we're going to be doing transitioning from good to great. But today we want to really focus on how to become great at things. Some things you're going to be expecting today, understanding the importance of technical depth. You're going to hear our stories about how we found our technical depth and how we built ourselves into our areas of technical depth. We're going to talk about this journey to mastery, how to get to mastering something. That's going to be quite important for you. While you're also going to know about, we're going to give you an example from General Electric about what happens when people stick to a technical depth and people veer off away from a technical depth. Building your business in an area of your technical depth and enhancing yourself in technical depth. We're going to talk also about expansion and what role does expansion play, especially in technical depth, and how to deal with expansion, because this is where a lot of businesses go off to die. It's when they try to expand and the expansion often takes a wrong turn. Now, what are the things you should be looking at? And also, simultaneously, we're going to try and end today by going into diversification. This has been a big topic for a lot of people, especially in the entrepreneurial space. So please, in the comment section, give us what are you expecting from today? What's your main expectation from today's session? As we're talking about expansion and technical depth, and also what are your at the end? Please give us what are your main takeaways. It's very important to look at also that what are your main takeaways of this. So now, Shadrach, welcome to you, my brother. Before we get started, please, how has your week been? Before we get into the technicalities of the day.
My week has been fantastic. I'm enjoying myself. I have, this guy. This guy never misses in my office. Okay, so I'm always having this guy nearby. Whenever I'm tired, I think this is some good comfort for me. I get
We're
comforted
going,
eating this. It's
we're
so
going to be
fantastic.
expecting another
Yeah.
little Shadrach like this. If you keep going, there'll be a little,
Yeah.
little
No.
Shadrach.
Dr. Mjajachi has put me in a lot of pressure because I'm a watermelon fan naturally. All right. So now that Dr. Mjajachi talks about it, it's awkward when I park this in my car when I'm going somewhere.
Uh,
Sometimes I cut in half and then I begin, but people tell me, "Oh, Mjajati combo." I said, "No, I love this, not because of Dr. Mjajati."
I'm
We're in
just
trouble,
telling you
man.
that.
We're in
Yeah,
trouble.
we're going to be
Yeah,
seeing a Shadrach
yeah,
squad. People, the blessings of God are so that you can become a great nation. Being a great
yeah,
nation.
yeah,
And that's the part of it as well.
yeah.
You must be financially blessed so that you're comfortable becoming a great nation. Okay, so
Come on.
let's,
You,
let's
you want
that
to do
was
this to me,
that's
not
the blessing
now.
of Abraham. That's the blessing of Abraham.
Oh yeah,
All right, so now
oh
let's
yeah.
get down to the conversation at hand. Kenny will join us when he can. He's like the spirit that eventually will pick up with us. Now let's go into the first part. The conversation
Yeah,
today, Shadrach, has been about technical depth. A lot of people have their views on this. Some people don't like the term being there's jack of all trades, master of none. Then some people say, but the false statement is a jack of all trades is better than a master of one. You know, this has been a very divisive topic. Should you touch
yeah,
on many things and try and because everyone is talking about diversified income streams and being diversified. The reality I've seen, Shadrach, is the people, and this was there was an interview from this lady named Mary Callahan Erdos, who is the CEO of JP Morgan's wealth management division. She deals
yeah,
with $4 trillion of private banking clients who are wealthy, and they bring their money to her for diversification and investment and structuring and estate planning. And she has been doing this for 25 years. In an interview with Mark Rubin, what's his name? Not Rubin, sorry, Dave Rubenstein, in on Bloomberg Wealth. She said, in my view, the majority of people make their money being very good at one thing. They find
yeah,
something and they become excellent at it. Now, in order to keep and grow their money, they diversify their money into many things. And I think this is where
Yeah.
there's been a lot of confusion. The diversification of money is not the diversification of self and time. And I think this is where a lot of
Yeah.
people get confused. We diversify ourselves and we're never able to drill deep into it. And then what we do is we out the value of our hours spent. We feel like we're working really hard. We really feel like it.
Yeah.
We're hustling from this point to that point to this point to that point, but we're not getting anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't discovered this thing that we can utilize in many places. I went through a similar thing, and I'm going to give my testimony soon. But I want to start with why I say this is the best career advice in the world.
Yeah.
We call this technical depth. So I want everyone to
Yeah.
focus on technical depth. Now, diversification is a good thing, but there's a
Yeah.
method with which you're supposed to apply it. And what every small business needs to understand is diversification is a costly venture. It's very
Fantastic.
costly to spill over into other areas. It's costly time wise and it's costly so forth. So I'm going to start with a Bible verse that actually talks about this. And if you go into I think it's Luke chapter 5. So in Luke 5, Jesus is having this sermon. Jesus is preaching to he's preaching this way, and I think he was preaching the Beatitudes because this is where he got the first disciples. And after he was preaching, they're saying that, and I'll start from the beginning. I'm going to go from Luke 5 all the way up to Luke 7. So Luke chapter 5, 1 to 7. And it says, one day Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. A great crowd pressed on him to listen to him. He noticed two empty boats on the edge of the water, for the fishermen had left them there as they were washing their nets. He stepped into one of the boats and asked them to push into the water. So he sat in the boat and he preached to the crowd. Okay. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, who was one of them, now go out into the deep waters. Or in another translation says, go out into the water where it's deeper and lay down your nets to catch some fish. And he said, Master, Simon replied, we worked hard all night, didn't catch a thing, but if you say so, I'll let my nets down. Yeah, he says, I'll let the nets down again. And this time their nets were so full of fish, they began to tear. A shout of help brought their partners into the boat, and soon both of the boats were filled with fish and were on the verge of sinking. You know, this thing taught me something. This Bible verse changed my life. Like literally, it actually changed my life the day I looked at it very carefully, because I never paid attention to the specific instruction Jesus gave them. Go out into the deeper waters. Focus on depth, because most of the world's value is found in things that are deep down. Okay, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's oil, whatever it is, depth is the storage of all value. And it's also where uniqueness is found, because where you're most valuable and where you fetch the most premiums is where you solve a problem. You are unique at solving that problem. It is rare to find you that you're able to solve that. You're hard to replicate. You're hard to imitate. You're hard to replicate, and you solve a problem. That's called vrio, and you're organized in the way that you do it. That's called a vrio. Your maximum value and your value proposition. We do that in strategic planning. So if you are to find your vrio, find your point of depth, because what it does to you is that 1 hour of work now becomes worth more, because it's deep, it's hard to replicate, and it's hard to imitate. And that is where value is created. So I think what that instruction told me was, Munyumba, and it said to me, Munyumba, where is your technical depth? And we'll go through the 4 main depths. But just as an introduction, Shadrach, what do you think about the conversation of depth versus diversification?
That's a one that we can't avoid. Actually,
Yeah.
depth and diversification, they speak hand in hand. All right, and maybe just to show just 3 things that I usually discuss with my clients and also my students at times. Let me just show you this, guys. What we mean by saying is of great value when it comes to depth and also diversification. So if you look at what I'm sharing here, I'm sharing what is called a strategic lens. All right, remember, can you see my screen, guys? Let me know if you can see my screen,
Yes, I
guys,
can.
please. All
Yes,
right.
yes,
So if you see here on my left, there's a word said strategic lenses. All right.
yeah,
There are three lenses at which business people should be able to look at their diversification and their businesses. There's one which you call the experience lens, like that one there. All right. It's a lens that allow you to diversify into something that you experience at. But also there's something called the design lens. All right. So here it's another lens that I'm not going to talk about today. But I want to compare this to this other lens, the idea lens. All right. But because here now you want to try something new. All right. Now, the reason why I'm going to compare the experience lens and the ideal lens is what I mean by saying here. There's a serious relationship between depth and diversification. If you look at the first one here, the experience lens, this one represents depth. All right. This one represents depth. All right. The experience lens. So here we're talking about depth, something that you're extremely really good at. Now, this one may depend on your experience gained. This is a logical incrementalism, something that you can do without problem. For example, I am a lecturer, all right? So if I want to diversify into something, possibly I've diversified into coaching. I've done some stuff in coaching and I speak at events, all right? Because I don't have to stress to go and facilitate at a workshop because I'm not experienced. I have the technical know-how of doing that particular talking when I go to a workshop. All right. So this one has got to do with experience gained. Maybe you have an education. Yes, I'm educated. I have qualification that enable me to say what I say and to lecture and to talk at events. But also has got to do with your belief system. All right, your culture. All those things may apply when it comes to depth. So depth is deeper, just like Nyumba is talking about it. But if you look at the ideal lens, this has got to do with diversification. Okay. Now I'm not going to go into a lot of details. I'm just going to talk about it plainly here. So this is where we have a guy who has an idea, all right? Maybe, for example, I'm a lecturer, but I say, you know what, I want to venture into farming, all right? I have an idea about farming, I have an idea about something else. So the difference between these two is that if I diversify into something similar to what I do, the chance of me making it are very much high as compared to when I diversify into something I'm not really good at, but I have an idea. But because here, I'm going to require a lot of expert knowledge. I'm not good at this thing I want to diversify into. So I have this particular idea, but if it works out, I'm going to be rich. If it doesn't work out, it's going to have an impact. Like Numba says, there's a cost to diversification, guys. So you have to think about it very much carefully. So as a professional, I look at depth as where value lies more often than not. Partly because, look at me. I know people in Mumbai get 10,000 kwacha per month. But sometimes when I speak at events, I get 10,000 kwacha just in a short period of time, not in a month. That's the same day they give me. I go home with it. Why? Because I diversified into something that I'm really good at. I've nurtured it. I've got the technical know-how. I've got the education, my belief systems, my culture, my values. Everything speaks to that thing. So I'm very much knowledgeable. This is why when I go to speak at events, I don't come back with 1,000 kwacha. No, nobody gives me 1,000 kwacha. Even 1,500, nobody gives me that. I come back with something quite big because of the experience I've gained over the years. Some members will say technical, no, depth and diversification. Yes, diversification is key. For example, like we say, when you look at the ideal lens, this one is going to encourage initiative. Okay, it's going to promote motivation. It's going to promote knowledge management and innovation because you're diversifying into something new. So there's that, that feeling. You just want to do something new, and if it works out, you make history. Like we've seen Facebook, we've seen Twitter, we've seen all these guys because they try to diversify and sell their comfort zone. They get something bigger. But when you are starting, you have the money. Some people say, I have multiple sources of income, different streams of income. No, it doesn't work like that. There's a model that helps you to diversify. And there's a time when you should be able to diversify. So if you think about these two lenses here, guys, the experience lens and the ideal lens, it's like you wake up in the morning, number, and then you tell your wife and say, you know what, Mama, I wanna quit my job. Your wife says, why do you want to quit your job? So I have an idea. I want to start a business. Your wife will look at you and say, are you mad? How are you going to be able to pay rent? You can't just quit your job because of an idea, because your wife sees some risks here. You are trying to move into something you're good at, into something completely new. So there are lots of risks. There are lots of lessons to learn. All right. So while that may discourage your wife, all right, it's not a bad thing to diversify. But the only problem is that there are lots of risks. So you have to wait up until such model, such time comes when you can still find this now movie. So the ideal lens, if you look at it, you tell your wife, I want to diversify. She says, what do you want to do? Say, what? I wanna start my own school. She will accept because she knows you're able to lecture. You're a lecturer, so if you start your own school, you'll be able to succeed because you know what you're going to be doing. So you won't have problems. It's just moving from one place to another, doing the same thing you've always loved how to do. So the risks are much more reduced as compared to, you know what, I want to go and start, a piggery. Or so should be worried because of. So I think what you're saying it's pretty fantastic. It's pretty true. Your wife would be worried if
I
you just
know.
woke up and say, "I'm gonna go and start a piggery." Say, but do you have a technical know-how? Come on, what do you know about piggeries? Not that she didn't want you to move on in life, but because she's thinking about the risks associated with your decision. So first, before you diversify, can you gain the experience? Can you gain the technical know-how? Can you gain the knowledge? There's a point as we're going to discuss in this session, guys. We're going to show now how do you diversify from what you're doing. For example, I'm a lecturer. I ran a school, but I've diversified now eventually into something else. All right. There's a stage at which I moved it. I'm going to use my personal example to show you guys how I diversified. How about you, Mjunga?
So, just so we can let's just get back to you. So I think, Shadrach, you've pointed out something really important, and I'm gonna give my story on this. Just so that we can also now add some personal side to it. I when I said I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I left a few jobs before and I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I wanna own my own house and everything. And I tried things. I tried entertainment before. I was like, I love entertainment. Let me go into there. No experience. I was like, okay, I tried retailing, like online retailing. I was like, I love the idea of manufacturing in Zambia. Let me go into there. Until one day, I had a conversation with myself and I was looking at my life and I said, I've wasted a lot of years. Now, I've learned some things, yes, but I've wasted a lot of years trying to do things which have captured my eye instead of trying to get better at things I am already good at. What you
Yes.
need to focus on is good to great. So I had a conversation with myself one day and I said, what do I know can do, like without even thinking, that people call me about? They just phone me. Okay, what can I do? What do people ask me questions about regularly? These are things that I brought into my mind. And when I thought about that, sorry, Shadrach, when I thought about that,
Yeah.
I said, well, I've been a financial advisor for a long time. People always ask me questions about it. Whenever I go even to a party or anything, people say, oh, yeah, I've got this problem with my portfolio. Like they're very comfortable bringing a problem to me. That's the first sign you should think about. When you know that you're good at something, people are not comfortable bringing their problems to people who are not good at stuff. They're comfortable, even if you're doing it for free, they're not comfortable. Even if you go, let's say, to a wedding and they say, can someone cook the meals for us? They don't want to buy food so that somebody can now go and burn the food. They still want you to be good at it, even if it's free. So
Yeah.
I asked myself this question. I said, I got 12 years experience in this area. At that time when I started, I said I had a decade of experience. I've got lots of relationships. I know people. I know this industry like the back of my hand. Even if I was drinking with friends and they mentioned it, I could start a conversation instantly. Okay,
Yeah.
because that is how knowledgeable I am. So I have a depth of knowledge. I have the skills to analyze. I have the skills to advise. I've so much experience. So I said, let me start. As a result, Shadrach, after so many years, and this Bible verse rings true, so many years of casting my net wide, I went into my depth, cast my net deep, and it's been 2 years of building myself out here. And all of a sudden, we go from businesses that were starting and stopping to a business that is growing and thriving and evolving and molding. Two things happened, Shadrach, that was so good. The
Yeah.
response was overwhelming. I understand what this verse meant when it said the fish came in and it was so much that it was sinking the boat. It got to a point where the demand has been coming in so strong. Like, oh, wait, hold on, we're not ready for this. Because when you go deep, you realize now how many people come rushing to you. In depth
Yeah.
is where now the customers come looking for you, where the phone
Yeah.
calls start coming in, and you're now trying to figure out, okay, how do I manage all of this? I wasn't ready for this. Because
Yeah.
that, if you want the success you're not even ready for, go deep into an area. Shallow, you
Yeah.
can get success, you can manage. But where you find the success where you're not even ready for it, go into your depth. That's one thing. And two, which is also in line with this Bible verse, which I really love, is it made me start looking for collaborations, such as Shadrach right now. I started to get demand in areas where now I needed to start working with other people. Just as they said they had to call upon help of another boat to start, I needed to start working with Shadrach. I needed to start working with Kenny. I've started reaching out to others because I've realized there's so much value in what we're doing right here, right now, in this space. Okay. The moment I said, I know fixed income assets very well. I know how to analyze stocks very well. I know unit trust very well. The moment I went into this space, I said, let me advise the public. Bang, the demand starts coming in. Okay, now
Yeah.
you're able to actually man, and that is where now I started needing to collaborate with people. So two
Yeah.
things happened. I was overwhelmed and I had an overflow that I could pass to people. And
Yeah.
that is the beauty of what I said. That's my personal experience with going into my technical depth. And one thing I've started to see is because I've zeroed in on my technical depth, and Dr. Jordan Peterson even talked about this once. He said, when you go into your area of technical depth, you are able, you get trusted by other people as well. They start to
Yeah.
call on you for deals, for opportunities, and say, "Oh, you're a good analyst. Can you do that?" I've had people in their conferences who come and say, "I need someone to speak on bonds in my conferences or speak on fixed income. Can you come and do that? Can you come?" I recently went to Solwezi. Someone says, "Okay, you're very good at this. Can you come?" You start getting recommended, okay, because of the trust that people have put into you. And that's the experience you get. And then eventually you can start to branch out. And now I'm feeling, I can see the path of diversification because it's making sense to branch out along my river. I think of this technical depth as my river. And I can now
Yeah.
break off little streams into it.
Yeah.
And that's how I can
Yeah.
diversify for now. And eventually,
Yeah.
and I'll talk about the diversification models for people. But first place, when you're starting your business, you don't have much resources. You don't. So you need to maximize your time and your impact. And you do that by going deep. If you go wide, you're going to burn through a lot of resources and probably indebt yourself probably doing it. But try and focus on depth and an area where you have depth. And I'll talk about the 4 levels of depth very soon in this point. But that's my testimony about going deep. Shadrach, I don't know, I mean, you've talked about it. You were talking about it as well. And maybe let me let you open up on this part about your area, because I think we're 3 people who have focused on our depths now. And I've gone from this. So that's my story of how we got into this by saying, let's put aside everything. And we started learning to say no to things and saying, let's stick to where we are deep.
Fantastic. And remember, I like the story part because it speaks to what I've been through myself. Like I said earlier, when I was starting, uh, I was an employee. I've worked at the senior level. I've never worked as a junior, fortunately, because the first job I got was at the senior level. And in accounting, the first job determines the second job, your next job. That's how it works. If you
Yeah.
start as a junior, it will be difficult for you to grow through the ranks. So I was so fortunate that with the first time on my job, I started at the senior level and I've always been at the top level. I've never gone down. So now, when I was when I was trying to see what I can do best, because there were all these things in my mind, all these ideas coming through. So one day I said, what can I do better? What am I good at? But growing up, I've always known people have always come to me. When I was in high school, my biology teacher would leave me to teach my friends biology. When I was in college, my lecturer would leave me to teach my friends financial reporting. When I was a kid, I taught a lot of neighbors' kids how to read. So growing up, I'm somebody who has always loved knowledge. So I thought, what can I do better? Okay, let me try lecturing. My mom used to tell me, when you grow up, you should become a lecturer. I didn't know what it meant. I said, what is a lecturer? All right, because as a kid, I didn't understand what that meant. I had all kids in our neighborhood coming to learn how to read from me. I taught a lot of kids in the neighborhood, even adults, how to read. Right, so it is something that I knew I was able to do. So then I said, people come to me they ask me questions, they come to me for advice. What can I do? Maybe I can start my own platform where I can be able to teach people. So I started appearing, I started showing up on social media, showing up. Do you know what happened? I received an international call from a company hiring me to go and speak at their event. All right. I spoke at that event just last week. I was speaking at an event. I was speaking at a school, and it's been now cause after cause. People calling me, come and speak at our event. No, come and facilitate this workshop. Come on, because they're able to see that I talk about something that I know. And one thing I love about the kind of job is because I love it. So it comes natural. I make money having fun. All right. I'm talking to people and I'm making money. I'm feeling good. All right. So it's when you follow depth over diversification, it works very well because you don't have to stress. If somebody comes to my class and sits down and listen to me, the first thing they say is that I wish I met you last year. That's the first thing they say. I wish I met you
Same
earlier
here.
because they see the difference. They say, you know what? This guy is so knowledgeable. Why was I wasting so much time? I have people that gave up on academic qualifications. When they came to me, they are graduates, and they say, "What? I wish I met you years ago." Why? Because for me, I do it out of love. I love what I do. It comes natural to talk about financial reporting, advanced financial management. Yes, it's a qualification, but it's something I love to do. So I've focused so much on what I'm good at. And because I'm good at it, people are able to see, people are able to come through. Every single day, I have a message in my inbox, somebody telling me, thank you so very much. My husband and I are happy. We are now having a poetry. We are now doing this. So it also gives me so much joy to do what I love and also make money out of it, but at the same time, change somebody's life. So it makes sense. So when you are trying to grow your business, can you first of all ask yourself, like remember we were saying about value, the value of depth. So maybe just a quick one, guys. I want to show you something here, so that maybe we can just understand what I'm talking about when we talk about value. A lot of us have a lot of value in us, but we've not utilized it because we feel we're not experienced. We don't have the qualification, but there's always something about you that makes you unique. Let me show you this one here, guys. Just a quick one here, number. Let me show this guys something here. Right? There's something I want to show you guys about value, and it's something that is actually a definition from Google. All right, it's a definition from Uncle Google about value. All right, so let me try and see if I can bring this one to you here. Okay, yes, there we go. So I have it. Please tell me if you can see, guys. This is just from Google. I just tapped the meaning of the word value. Can you see that screen, guys?
Yeah, I can see it, but it's a bit.
Okay, now.
Yeah, I think I can see it.
Okay,
No, I can see it. I can see it.
You can see it. All right,
Yeah.
fantastic. So, guys, look at how this word has been defined. We're talking about the value of depth. All right, now see the meaning of the word value. It says the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. See that meaning. But look at the second meaning. It says principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Now, look at these two definitions. The first one says value is the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. So if you think about this word value clearly, we all have value. Which area are you useful? Where you can be useful? You may not have the degree, you may have that master's degree or certificate, but there's something where you can be useful. So focusing on depth can also mean focusing on areas where you can be useful. Because areas where you are useful to people, people are willing to pay for where you're useful. Nobody pays you for not being useful. No, people pay because you are being useful. You understand? So when you are useful, people are going to pay you something because they see the value in you. They need you. I pay for we pay for our house helps and our garden boys because of the usefulness we get from them. They're not qualified, that they don't have degrees, but we pay them because they bring some value to us to enjoy ourselves. But again, look at that. Sometimes it could be principles or standards of behavior. There are certain kinds of behaviors that are valuable to people. Principles. Look at the marriage counselors. You don't have to go to school, but they have some principles that they use in their marriages that work, and then they charge you to go and get advice from them. So, as an individual, before you diversify, can you focus on value? Where am I worth? Where am I useful? Where can I be useful? So, value is what determines where you need to diversify from. All right. So for now, I'm not going to go into details, remember. I want to end here, but I'm going to get back to this definition at a later stage so you can now expand it more on the value of depth. Right. So ask yourself a question as I conclude, guys. What is your worth as a person?
Yeah.
All right. What is your worth? I know my worth. what use do somebody, or what do you know that somebody can pay you for? Can you cook? Can you bake? Can you dance? Can you teach? Correct? Can you analyze issues? Can you type? Can you manage somebody's page? What are you good at? That is also value. So value comes into where you're useful. That's one thing I noticed about myself. I was useful because I know how to explain things. I understand things very fast and I grasp complex information very easily. So I know somebody would need me for that. So what do? I opened up a school because I knew somebody's going to pay me for this. All right. There are lots of people like me who are qualified like me, but they don't teach because it's not their thing. Even if
Mhm.
they did, they won't last as I'm going to last because for me, it comes natural. I don't have to stress.
Thank
All
you.
right. So that's what you have to ask yourself. Where are you? Because where you are good at, I can assure you, you're going to succeed. It's very much easier to succeed when you're good at something and you love it. So that's the part I wanted to show you guys. So ask yourselves questions. What are you good at? What's your worth? All right.
It's true. It's really true when you speak about value from that perspective. What is someone worth? And and what I want people to think about is think about your value beyond yourself. Think about your value to the person consuming. Because I know everyone likes to say, I know my value, I know my value. How valuable are you to a person who is utilizing that which you are delivering? Because I think a lot of people know how to acknowledge their value, but very few people understand how to deliver value. Okay, because this is the key and important part. So I'm going to talk about the 4 areas of depth that you need to look at. But I want to add to Shadrach what he said is be useful, and I'm going to say be uniquely useful. Okay, if you to get paid, you have to be useful. To get paid a lot, you have to be uniquely useful. Okay, I went from, and I've seen, I know what Shadrach's talking about, where you can spend a month working and get paid 5,000, and then you can do an hour's worth of work in your area of talent and get paid 5,000. Okay, because you are uniquely useful. You are. This is why we say the beauty about depth is where you are deep, you are hard to replicate. Depth is hard to replicate. A bar of gold takes a lot to get to because it requires equipment, mining, everything. It requires smelting. There's so much it takes to process it that it becomes intensely difficult to replicate it. So be hard to replicate by going into your area of depth. So let's talk about your 4 depths. Okay, people, I want you to take notes in this area. Your 4 depths. And these are the things that will actually teach you where to find it. One is skills and proficiency. Where are you experienced and skilled in? And you know how you can test it. There are results oriented things here. Skilled and proficiency is where can you deliver results for people that are bigger. In other words, you can produce more in a space of time. Better,
Yeah.
quality is improved. Faster, stronger, with less risk and less waste. Cheaper, or what's it, or more convenient. This is
Yeah.
what you want to do. Where can you deliver consistent, and not just once, consistent results? Bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper, and more convenient. If you can look at those areas, that's your skills and proficiency. So if you are put next to most people, are you bigger? Are you better? Are you faster? Are you stronger? Are you more proficient? Write that down, people. I'm going to say it one more time: bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper, more convenient. Okay, I want to see someone write that down. The second area of your depth is your knowledge. What do you know more of than other people? In what area are you deeply knowledgeable? Either by
Fantastic.
experience, either by this. And I'm talking about not just book knowledgeable, life knowledgeable, where you've practiced, where you've put pen, not just pen to paper and just one simple thing, where you've actually delivered results. Where's your first-hand knowledge? And
Fantastic.
I'm talking about knowledge
Fantastic.
and insight. You do not gain
Yeah.
insight without experience. Do not lie to yourself on this one, people. You can gain knowledge by reading. You gain insight by practicing what you have read into real life and you have
Yeah.
seen it. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen 2 major market downturns and 3 market recoveries in Zambian stock market history. I've seen the market lose about a quarter to half its value, bang, in the space
Yeah.
of a year or two. I've seen
Yeah.
that. And I've seen the market recover. That is insight I have in this world. And I've seen it and I've experienced and I've seen it come back. And so, because of that, because of operating in that environment, I have insights as to what is an underpriced stock. I have insight. I've seen the bond market go through its ups and downs. I have insights in these areas. Okay. Because I have taken what I have learned and I have practiced it into areas and I've seen the different outcomes and different variations. It's all good and well to read people. I know people who just read books and read books and read books and read, but they never apply a thing. Okay.
Yes.
Read and apply, people. So your knowledge is not the things you've read, it's the things you've read and you've applied. Okay. So that is where the depth of your knowledge is. And you should have hours upon years. You should have years of seeing this at work. The third one is your beliefs and passion. Okay. What do you believe in so strongly? Because this affects your energy. So your skills will affect your delivery. Your knowledge will affect your decisions. Your beliefs will affect your energy. Okay, the amount of energy. Shadrach was talking about doing something that you are fun, that you find you're having fun making money. That is like a strong belief. Okay, that's a third one. You really need it because you have to give your energy. Your energy is your number one asset. You don't have cash, you don't have capital. So your number one form of capital is your heart right now. And you deliver with your heart. That makes you diligent. It makes you push the hours. It makes you proficient. It makes you learn more. Also, by the way, knowledge also helps you learn faster. So it also helps in the speed of your learning and your development. And your fourth depth is relationships. Okay, where do you have deep relationships? Because the beauty of a talent, when you read the Bible, it says, a man's talents shall make room for him. A man's talent shall bring him before kings. Where are you likely to get phone calls where people will say, Shadrach, Mnyumba, I need you at this? Because it's those phone calls that give you an opportunity. My first Bonjucation class, and I'm going to give her a shout out to Jane Mazimba. Jane and I knew each other from when we were younger. Okay, Jane was running Trendsetters magazine back then. She was a magazine editor. People don't remember it. Back then when Trendsetters first started, she was the editor then. That's when her and I first met. Through Freddie Banknotes, those people, and that was my brother's friend. We sat at the place. He showed me his editor. That's when I met her. We got to know each other, and then time has passed. Jane has now gone into the world of finance, and she's become a financial educator and award-winning financial literacy. She has a section in one of her classes that she wants to do on government bonds. She calls me, knowing at a time when I want to now start expanding into. Now, I said I want to switch my strategy to educating people first before I advise them, before I make tools. Jane gives me an opportunity and says, hey, by the way, can you take one of my slots for me? I got no problem with you. I've got a slot on government bonds. Maybe you can speak to people about it. That was the first Bonjucation class, and that's where I got it from. Because I had a deep relationship with somebody in that area that I could get an opportunity. Opportunities come from in-depth relationships. And where you don't need capital for those opportunities. You need relationship capital, not financial capital. You need friends who can give you an opportunity, who trust your skills, who know you very well to say, you can come and do this. I've seen you and I trust you. And because we've already built a relationship, I can give you this open door. So you don't need, so this is why people say you can start businesses without cash or without too much cash, because you need to look at where are you deep in your skills, where are you deep in your knowledge, where are you deep in your beliefs, and where are you deep in your relationships. Find what sits under all four of those rings, or develop somewhere that meets all four of those rings, and now you're in your depth. Because once you're in your depth, opportunities, delivery, brand recognition, that starts to come faster and faster. And then then more doors can get opened for you. So those are the four depths. I don't know, Shadrach, if you got any more to add to that.
Remember, you've said something very important, extremely important. And I strongly wish that a lot of people could just write it down. Guys, no matter how good you are at something, if you have a very bad attitude and you can't create relationships that are meaningful, you're nothing. You can be talented, you can be educated, you can be whatever you can be, but if nobody wants you near, you're nothing. And this is the point that we talked about in the definition of value. Look at that statement again. On the definition of value, look at that. How did we define value a while ago? We said, if you go to our definitions, we defined value here and we said this. We said, division number 2 says principles or standards of behavior That also is part of value. What principles do you have or standards of behavior that are going to make you useful to me? That are going to make somebody say, you know what? There's this opportunity. Let me call Nyumba. Let me call Shadwick. What is it that you have that somebody can remember you for? You
Mm-hmm.
need to have a certain kind of behavior to build meaningful relationships. You need to have certain kinds of principles so that people can trust you, because relationships are based on mutual trust. In business, people don't know you. They are trusting you with their money. They're taking a chance on you, even though they don't know you that much. But because somebody who knows you recommended you, they're going to use you. So you must understand that value does not just come from education, does not just come from because you're an employment. No, it also comes from your own principles and the standards of behavior. I'm going to tell you something about a friend of mine. All right, you guys, remember, you know Upe. Upe is a good friend of mine. She's my co-host on a show, and I'm developing a system. So Upe has a document that she got from somebody. I don't know where she bought this document from. It's a very good document, and I like some of the things, even though it wasn't a complete document. But I thought maybe what I have and what this document has, I can build on it. Then she tells me, you know what, Shadrick, I can't give it to you because I signed somewhere that I'm not supposed to share it with anybody else. I said, okay, fine, but we work together. We are partners. I can simply see what this document is about, and I build it. He said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. She told me, one day you're going to thank me that I didn't give it to you. I said, no, it's not a big, but inside I knew that this is what I need. I need somebody who has principles, something they stand with. Because I know if I build a product, I give it to her, she won't gonna distribute it to somebody for free. All right. So what builds the trust are the principles that you uphold, the standards of behavior. Like my friend tells me, no, Charles, I'm not going to give it to you. Yes, you are my friend, but I'm not going to give it to you because I signed with somebody that I'm not going to share it for free because they are the ones who built it for themselves. All right. So that creates trust. I may not be happy. Maybe I say, my friend, you can't show me this, but inside I know I need somebody like this, somebody I can trust with my products. Because I work tooth and nail to create my formulas and think I don't want to give somebody who's just gonna go and dispute for free with people. So guys, like Number is saying, build relationships, collaborate with others. You can never get to where you want to be if you don't know how to collaborate and how to build relationships. You must have value also in your standards of behavior. I think that's a fantastic point. Very
No, and
fantastic.
and yeah, so it's true. By the way, please stress that point on relationships. Your opportunities are going to come from your relationships that you can build and quality relationships. That's why I said depth of relationships are really important. So quality of relationships is really important, I think, coming out of here. So yes. So I want to give an example um here on going deep. But first I want to talk about the steps of going deep. Now, I always cite a man named Booker T. Washington. So I'm going to try and show this as well. Booker T. Washington wrote a book called The Future of the American Negro, where he talked about how blacks coming out of slavery could develop themselves. And he talked about making sure we developed technical traits. Okay, he said, make sure you become very good in technical areas and make sure you become very good in certain skills and traits. So I'm going to put here something called the 9 levels of mastery. And this is by Booker T. Washington here. So I don't know if everyone can see this. So this
Yeah,
is
we
the
can see.
process he brought in from chapter 4 of The Future of the American Negro, where he talked about mastering your craft. And I'm going to go through it. He says, first, you must build your knowledge in something by reading. And he stressed reading about it. Read everything you can. Read papers, read reviews. You shouldn't be caught on social media doing la di da. If you don't have a proficiency, why aren't you reading about things you have potential in? If you don't have a proficiency yet where you are bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper, and more convenient, you must be working on becoming proficient. And what you ask yourself, okay, where do I have potential? And I need to be reading on those areas. We shouldn't be catching you in these areas. We should be reading as much as possible. And I say this to the detriment of a show that we're broadcasting on social media, but make sure you filter the things you're going through and make sure they're adding to your development process at a time. Entertainment times will come when you have built yourself. But when you're trying to entertain yourself with nothing and then you start asking, but why is my life not moving on? It's because one, you were not building your knowledge. So, first step to mastering something is reading about it. The second step is get a mentor, or at least how he was saying, get mentored. I'm going to upgrade this. Study 1 to 3 people who are great in your market. Okay, read about them, follow their story. Okay, find out their origins. Number 3, network amongst your local industry. I told you my opportunity with my first group that came from net. That's a network of friends who look to you and say, "Hey, I've got an opportunity here for you." You will not get those if you do not network in your local industry. What are the events? What are the mixers? What are the associations? I know some of these things can be irritating sometimes, and it feels out of the blue. But go to them. I remember. I remember just after I got married, just after we got married, Mlenga and I, there was a securities and exchange event that they were having. It was just a like a function. It wasn't even like a proper. It wasn't even like a main thing. And she said to me, she said we were talking about it, and she said, go to this event. I'll even go with you myself. She came with me. She says, let's go to this event. And she said, the reason why you should go is because in life, you really have to make sure you're as many of these things as possible, because meeting people sometimes opens up. Okay, and I was a member of the market. They invited everyone in the market. Everyone was allowed to come to those things, but it was a market development dinner. I think they were having it. But going to things like that helps you make sure that you're connected with people, so that when there are things that need to be done, you're first in their mind, because people think like
Yeah.
that. And it's not even
Yeah.
it's because you should be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
network in your industry. How will you know what is going on if you don't network in your industry? How will you have a
Yeah.
grip on the opportunities?
Yeah.
Practice extensively, okay, until you have mastered the basic version. So Booker T. Washington said, practice. By the way, he was giving the example of somebody who works in the brick industry. He was talking about a guy who was making bricks, and he was saying, practice making these basic versions of bricks over and over and over and over until you've developed a skill that is either bigger, better, like until you've developed a way that is so unique to you. 5, learn variations and specializations. Now he says in bricks, now find out, okay, now you know how to make basic bricks. How do you make red bricks? How do you make fire bricks? How do you make this? Start learning the specializations of your area, because your depth is going to be a specialization. Okay? It's going to be a specific point. The 6th one he says is, once you have specialized and you've practiced and you've networked, now he says, get out of your town. Go to another
Yeah.
town. Meet people in these other markets, in these other industries. Who are the other financial analysts you talk to in other countries? Who are the other what's it, chartered accountants that you talk to in other countries? Go and deal with them. Find out how they're best at doing it. Study them. Okay.
Yeah.
Find out what the best in other nations are like. Because what if there's a different culture of doing things that you need to try and adopt here? When people started bringing Kaizen production systems into mainstream manufacturing, is because people had traveled to Japan to find out what was
Yes.
going on. What was it that the Japanese were doing? Without traveling to Japan, they were never going to bring Kaizen into their
No.
methods and understand the
No.
importance of optimization. Number 7, build your reputation. Deliver results for customers consistently and build a reputation amongst them. Okay, that art of building a reputation and offering and executing, that's another thing. Now, number 8 is just to repeat steps 1 to 7 consistently, always learning and always improving, constantly looking at where you can improve, learn and improve. And finally, which is actually quite important, mentor someone. One of the best ways to improve your knowledge is to pass down your knowledge. To improve yourself is to pass it down. When you are forced to pass down information to somebody, you now have to think about how to package it simplistically, how to manage it well, and you force yourself to relearn things. Teaching is also a very good way of learning. It's actually a very good way, because you force yourself to know and reinforce a lot of things. These are the
Yeah.
9 levels. Please, people, take a snapshot of it. Think about it. This is very important, because when Booker T. Washington taught this to people, there were many Black Americans back. Nobody will tell you this in Black American history, but there were many Black Americans who got out of poverty, who actually moved from being born slaves to dying landowners, business owners, and they were moving into the middle class through this philosophy of mastering something and becoming so good at it. White people were coming to his university at a time of racism, when there was the Ku Klux Klan. They would come and say, there's nowhere where we can get bricks this cheap and this good quality. So they would come, and so many of his students were getting their first jobs, even from white contractors, in a time when there was racism, because they were so good at making bricks that even the racists had to go to them to get bricks. That's what you need to start doing as a person. And that's what I just wanted many of you to look at. So please go through these 9 levels, people. Rewind, go through these 9 levels. It's extremely important. I know that we're having trouble with Kenny at the moment, but go through these 9 levels and let's actually get back to it. But now, this is your levels of mastery. Shadrach, what are your views when it comes to? I'm tempted to ask Kenny because I feel like we're gonna lose him just now. Kenny, what are your views on how to master something? And your microphone's off at the moment. And I think we've lost him again.
We've lost Ken. He's just smiled and disappeared. Fantastic.
Okay, so
And I think those are quite fantastic insights that you've pointed out there, Nyumba. And it also takes me back to value. Guys, like we said, mastering something is a continuous process. Success is a moment, all right? You must understand, if you're going to master something, it's something continuous. I did not just wake up one day and I discovered that I was so good at financial management. No, I didn't, because I've been doing this for a very long time. I lecture students at the degree level, the master's level. I talk to clients every day about finances. I write articles about it. So I talk about this every single day. If you called me at midnight and asked me something about financial reporting, I'm going to tell you, because I do that every single day. So it's a continuous process. I never stop learning. I keep advancing. I keep modifying my models. I keep changing some of the things I learned from other people. So it's a continuous process to master something. But again, you cannot master something that does not make any sense to you. If you're going to master something, there should be a purpose. What is it that you want to achieve? When I was doing my studies about financial reporting, advanced financial management, advanced financial accounting, and I started to develop family finance, it's because I have a purpose. I have a reason for that. I have some certain kind of passion in me that wants me to go this route. All right, I'm not doing it for free. I get paid talking to people. It's not free, guys. So you must understand. So what is it that makes you tick? This is why I keep taking you back to this definition here, guys, about value. I keep going back to this one here because it speaks a lot of volume. So look at it this way, guys. We said value is the regard that something is ought to deserve, the importance, weight, or usefulness of something. Principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Look at the last definition. Value has been defined as one's judgment of what is important in life. If something is important to you, you're going to be motivated to want to master it. For example, the art of teaching was so important to me that I mastered the art. If I stand in front of a class at any university and I speak, students will simply say, you know what, why don't you be the one taking us every single time? If I go to a workshop and I stand, I was voted the best facilitator at a workshop for a very big corporation in this country. And I was voted as the best. I didn't even know it. I just received an email from South Africa telling me, you know what, you are the best facilitator. All right. Why did that happen? It's because it's important to me. So I've mastered the art of teaching. When I stand in front of people and they begin to talk, they understand. So to master something, first of all, you must understand, is it important to you? Because if it's not important, you're going to lose interest. Remember, mastery is a continuous process. So why should you keep on doing the same thing over and over again that you don't think is important to you? Can that work, Munyumba? It won't work.
Yeah.
Because it's not important to you. So you have to understand the importance something brings into your life. Like I said, each one of us, I strongly believe we can live better if we can change the way we think. We all have infinite potential. All right. Some of us are good at singing. Some of us can dance. Some of us can cook. Some of us can bake. Some of us can write books. Some of us can do research, can write articles, can do whatever it is that you know. What is that is important to you that you can master so that it can benefit you. Start from there, all other things are going to fall. But again, remember, to master something, sometimes you're going to need help. You can't do it on your own. This is where now we said here, Munyumba mentioned something very important. He said, can you look for a mentor? Now, I want to comment on this point, guys. A mentor is somebody who is succeeding at what you want to become. A lot of us, we choose wrong mentors. That's the problem that we have. All right. We simply go to social media. We see who has a huge following. And then what do we do? Boom, is my mentor. You are my mentor, but what do you want to become? If I want to become a leading financial expert, of course, I'm going to need to look up to somebody who is succeeding at being a financial expert. A mentor is somebody, guys, write this down in the comments. A mentor is somebody who is succeeding at what you want to become. If you choose a wrong mentor, you are lost. A mentor is somebody who is succeeding at what you want to become. Guys, can I say that in the comment? Please write it down. A mentor is somebody who is succeeding at what you want to become. That's what a mentor is supposed to be. So choose the right mentor. Like Number said, that's a very important point Number you mentioned there. You sometimes to master something, you need help. You ask somebody who has done it before so that they can show you how they eventually got around those obstacles you are facing. Because you're looking up to somebody who has succeeded at what you want to become. So you can ask them questions. If you came to me, students who come to me and they say, Mr. Sam, how can I do this? Shadik, how can I do this? Because it's something I've done, something I've been doing. Then I'm going to tell you, you know what? For me to do this deco, for me to do this presentation, for me to do, I do this. So my area of strength is this. I research this. These are the tools I use. I'm going to show you things that make me tick, things that make me stand out. So when you are choosing a mentor, don't just go for numbers. All right, because numbers are huge following. Then you say, no, it's my mentor, you're my inspiration. No, but what do you want to become? Is this person whom you're inspired by so much? Are they in the category of the thing that you want to become?
Hello, sorry, I don't know if we've lost Shadrach for a moment. Kenny, so Kenny, I think now that we have you, hopefully, oh, there we go. Shadrach is back. Kenny, can we have you for a second?
Say hi to you guys. Like, hi, how are you doing already?
Yeah, in the middle of the war zone, my brother. How are you doing?
I've figured it out. The rotation just doesn't work on this phone. So the moment it rotates, it just, I just said, let me try it one last time without using the rotation. Let's see if it's going to work. So you see, you can't keep doing the same thing, you have to try other ways.
All right, can you give us your thoughts on mentorship and mastery and where you are right now? Give us your thoughts on mentorship and mastery because we've been talking about depth and mastery. Yeah.
You know what I love about mentors? Mentors are different from coaches. Coaches book you a seat on a flight where they themselves have never been. A mentor is someone who's actually been there and is navigating and showing you how they did it. And then in order to do it better, you apply yourself to the situation that is presented before. We've seen it in movies where a guy gets beaten up in the beginning and then he goes to see a Kung Fu master who teaches him how he does it, how he did it. And then the learner now also adds his own skill to what he's been taught. So that's the beauty about mentors. Mentors are different from coaches. Coaches are guys, believe you me, trust me. These are the people that will tell you stuff that they've read, they've understood, but they themselves have not mastered a thing. What they have is creativity. We're not saying it's a bad thing to coach. We're just differentiating a mentor from a coach so that you have a better understanding. So if I tell you this one's a mentor, that's why people go to Elon Musk and want to learn his stuff because they can see what he's built. They'll go to Shadrach because they can see what Shadrach's built, and they'll hear what Mutwala is saying because you're seeing what Mutwala is doing. See, that's the difference with a mentor.
We've lost your sound.
We have lost sound from Kenny.
Kenny, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear
bad,
you.
Kenny.
You're gonna have to reset and come back on that one. You may have to come back in and out just to get your sound. Let's try this again. Yeah, unfortunately. So when it comes to I think when it comes to mentorship, and I think you can bring him in. When it comes to mentorship, there's something that's actually quite interesting. There's something called the productivity formula, which I learned very quickly for myself, and I was trying to apply this to things I was trying to learn. And what they said is often when we're mentoring, when we're trying to get a mentor or an inspiration, Shadrach, I think you used a very important word there. People differentiate between a mentor and an inspiration. An inspiration is always from afar. A mentor is close. And Kenny made a very important differentiation also between being coached and being mentored. Being coached is a person who will teach you concepts and guide you on certain things. Being mentored is something different. Being mentored is somebody taking you through their personal story. That's a very personal thing. So mentorship and coaching, very different. Coaching and also the same thing with mentorship and inspiration, very different. Okay, so categorize, is this person my inspiration? Are they my mentor? Are they my coach? What are they? Okay, because
Yeah.
those are very important things that you need to categorize them for, because all three are important, they play a role, but you need to make sure that you define them carefully so you know what
Yeah.
role they're playing in your life. Because you may have a coach and you're thinking they're your mentor, or you may have an
Yeah.
inspiration, you think they're your coach. They're not. Okay, so you have to make sure you differentiate between them. But what people often do is that they don't understand levels. Shadrach, do you remember we used to play video games when we were kids? And there were games like, I don't know if I'm dating myself here, but there were games like Shinobi, or we used to play Streets of Rage. All these video games that we used to play, even things like Street Fighter, all these things.
Yeah, Street Fighter. Yeah.
And what you knew is every battle had levels, had increasing levels of difficulty.
Contra and things like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. and you had you had a boss at each level. You had a boss that you had to fight at the end of each level.
Yes.
When you defeat that boss, you go to level 2. Then you fight through, you defeat that boss, you go to level 3.
Yes.
The problem with us is when we pick our mentors, we don't realize, and I give people this exercise. Write down the top 10 people in your industry. Don't write one, write the top 10. Okay? Start at number 10. Start to imitate number 10. Your goal is to get to number 1, but start by imitating number 10. And find someone even in your area. Imitate that person. Then when you imitate, when you've gotten to a point of imitation where you are comfortable imitating what that person has done, now you start to customize it. You start to add your own, because Kenny said it first. He said that Kung Fu master shows him, and then that student starts to add their own flair to it. Okay, so that's what you do. You learn first, you mimic first, then you add your own style. Then when you have that, at that point, you have mastered that person. Now get to level 2. Who's my level 2 mentor? You're number 9. So you cross them off and you keep getting better than each of these ones. By the time you get to boss number 10, and you'll notice, even in those video games, you have now become an amalgamation of those 9 plus yourself. You've stylized all of them and you've started to pick up pieces of them. These are your top 10 inspirations or your guides in these. If you do that, here's what you avoid. If you try and go straight to the top person, the difference between you and that person is so wide, you're going to get discouraged. You are actually going to get discouraged and you're going to give up. So start with somebody who's closer to you and then beat them. Then go to the next person, then beat them, then go to the next person. You are likely to catch up with the person at number 10 more than you're likely to catch up with the person at number 1, and slowly work your way up. If you are baking, for example, don't go for the number 1 baker in the world. Go for the person who's number 1 in your neighborhood. Okay? And now start learning how to try and get to that level. Then get to the next level, then get to the next level. Get there incrementally. That is how you actually start to learn to improve yourself and your skills. But if you try and go straight to number 1, you're most likely going to be discouraged. So it's something I just wanted to add. People, level out your mentorship program so that you start at incremental levels and don't rush to the number 1 in the world. Because when you fail, you're going to fall so hard that you're going to convince yourself that you are a failure, and then you're going to end up giving up. And that's why people say, no, but you don't have the tenacity. No, it's because you in a short space of time, you try to go from knowing nothing to being the number 1 in the world. So first win the local
don't work
league
like that
before you try and win the Champions League and the World Cup. Start at the local league.
Fantastic.
So yeah, Shadrach, your thoughts on that?
I think what you're saying is true, guys. When I started with my lessons and when I started lecturing people, there's a man that I liked. This man is very sharp. All right, the man was just awesome. But also, you know what I've done today when I do what I do, some people tell me, "Do you know this man? Sometimes you speak like this man," and then sometimes it's like. Where I am now, even the man that I was so much inspired by, that helped me a lot. Where I am now, it's like somehow I'm like, I've jumped that other man, all right? Because now I've taken so personal that for me, it's just about just improving every single day. So as Mumba is saying, guys, when you are picking people in the industry, you don't want to become the best overnight. I did not just wake up one day and I came on Facebook and started talking and say, you know what? No. It took time. Practicing, dealing with different people. I've lectured over 3,000 students in this country. I've seen graduates, lots of graduates. I produce country best at so many levels, at the degree level, master's level. I produced country based right here from my office. So it did not start one night. It was a process from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, up until now. I'm at the level where I'm able to just go into a classroom and begin to talk without a textbook in my hands, because now things are at the back of my mind. The standards just flow because now I've mastered the art. It's a continuous process. So, and I think that's a very fantastic. So, guys, as you begin to grow in your knowledge, because what you are trying to focus on is in-depth. And I said something here that Munyumba also has mentioned, and I like this point here, Munyumba, because it makes a lot of sense. If you look at this statement that Munyumba mentioned here, it is called incrementalism that is logical. See that experience is experience gained through logical incrementalism.
Yeah.
You don't become the best at once. No, it didn't work like that. You are going to be discouraged if you have a very bad view towards learning. You don't want to just wake up one day and become better than Munyumba. Munyumba has been doing bonds for 12 years, guys. 12 years. It's not a joke. You can't just go to his class one day, learn a few things, go and open your own platform, begin to do bonds. It doesn't work like that.
There are guys who try. There are people
you
who
need
try.
to practice. This man has invested in the markets. He runs bonds. He knows it inside. If you call him at midnight, Munyumba, tell me about bonds, he's going to tell you. Because he's been doing this for 12 good years. All right. So there should be logical incrementalism in your knowledge. So feel free to start small. Begin to nurture your skills. Begin to grow. Begin to add knowledge. Begin to learn. Begin to imitate, mimic up until you make it your own. Because creativity means you can see something from Munyumba, you can see something from Shavik, and then see how can I do it better. That's creativity, right? Because we all learn from other people. Like we're just showing you a book. I'm showing you these notes. I'm showing you different a model from Bukati. We are all learning from others. But what do we do then? We see how can I apply it to suit my situation, to suit people within my environment. That's how you do it. Don't wake up one day, you go to a bonification class, you learn for a month or 10 sessions. Then what do you go and open a pen and say, no, what, come and learn bonds? No, you're misleading people because you don't have the capacity to do that at the moment. You have to be honest with your capabilities. That is extremely important. So don't rush to the top because you're gonna crash and it will discourage you. And if you crash, it's gonna be big. So start small, like Munyumba said, 4 steps. If you pass level 1, level 2, level 2, level 3, level 3. Today I'm at a point where I can go and talk at any university. I'm very comfortable. Yeah. I can speak. I stand in front of directors, company big directors from big corporations, and I facilitate and I deliver. I'm very comfortable doing that because now I've mastered the art. I have the qualifications, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, I have the technical know, and I've improved on my skills. So I'm about to stand in front and charge somebody 10,000 kwacha or 15,000 kwacha, 20,000 kwacha, and I'm comfortable charging like that. Why? Because I've mastered the art. So I'm not, when I was starting, I didn't charge anybody 5,000 kwacha to speak for 1 hour. No, I didn't. I didn't charge anybody, not even 2,000. I was scared. I did it for free. But today, somebody to hire me to go and do an event, when I charge them, I'm comfortable charging what I charge because I know I have logical incrementalism of the experience, the knowledge, and technical know-how. So, guys, I think Munyumba is a fantastic point. Don't feel bad if you are not yet knowledgeable. When you see Munyumba analyzing things the way he does, don't think you can just wake up one day, read the same book, and begin to. No. You have to start small. Can you call Munyumba? Munyumba, I want you to become my mentor. How do you do these things? What tools do you use? So Munyumba can guide you through the process from point 1 to point 0. What I do every day, I have 1 hour which I dedicate to look at the markets. Here's what I do. He's guiding you through the process. That's what mentorship is. You choose a mentor who is succeeding at what you want to become. That is key. So this person, somebody can talk to, somebody who can go. And the point I want to tell you guys, be willing to spend coins on knowledge. Avoid the free things. You know, why I say avoid the free things? Because the free things do not have true value. Just to be honest with you guys, if you're not willing to pay for something, then you're not ready to have what you want to have. There's a reason why Munyumba speaks the way he does. There's a reason why I speak the way I do and Ken the way he does. Because someone will sacrifice some resources. It could be time, it could be money, it could be anything. So be willing to sacrifice something to get where I want to get. I see when people say we have free financial trust training, thousands flow, all right? And I saw just a month ago where the real estate in masterclass. So there was for free, there was for 300 kwacha, and then there was VIP for 500 kwacha. I bought a VIP ticket for 500 kwacha. When I got to the class, what was I told? I was given a book because that VIP came with a book by the organizer, which talks about everything that was presented in the workshop. Now imagine somebody went there for free. They listened to some speeches, but what then? They left. But for me, I went there, I listened also, but I came back with a manual to help me use, to help me refer to it. So when you pay for something, you pay attention, like usually Kenny puts it.
Exactly.
If you're not willing to pay, I sponsor, remember last time I sponsored 38 people. All right. I sponsored 38 students. And I'm going to tell you, this semester, I say I'm going to sponsor about 50 because I've upped the game. But what I've noticed is people that come for free, that I sponsor, that come for free, and people that pay, the level of commitment is different.
Yep.
Usually people don't pay anything. They miss class. They come late most of the times because they don't feel they have anything to lose. But somebody who has paid their hard-earned money to learn something, they even call you when you are late. Sir, where are you? Are we having class today? Because they've paid something, it means something to them. So make it a habit to always want to pay for something that you need to pay for. Don't always look for free things because there's no real value. Do you really think I can just come to Facebook and sit and I offload all the information I tell my clients on social media? No, I'm not going to do that. People pay me heavily for the knowledge I have to do family finance and personal finance. I can't come to Facebook and offload everything for free. I'm not going to do that. So I have people I'm mentoring and I'm giving them even my contacts, my connections. I'm telling them, okay, you can call this guy. I call friends of mine, guys, I have this person. Please help me. Why would I call somebody for free? Why would I trouble somebody in the middle of the night? I have this guy, he commented on my post on Facebook. I help him. No, I'm not going to do that. But somebody who's in my class, I'm going to call somebody. Say, Munyumba, there's this guy. We have this issue. How do we help him? Because he has paid me. So he paid me, I want to deliver value. So what do? I also give them access to my contacts. That's how it works. So be willing to pay for something so that you can acquire the knowledge that you need. You don't just collaborate for free. Collaborate with power. Be willing to pay. When you pay, believe me, guys, you pay attention because it means something to you. Over to you.
I even wrote it down actually right here. Let me just minimize the screen. But I wrote it down right here. It was actually the following point I was going to say. Right here, when Shadrach spoke, I said, where you pay money, I said, pay money, you pay attention. Yes. I wrote it right there. I was actually about to say it. Where you pay money, you pay attention. You are careful.
That's how it works.
Dan Locke, the marketing expert, actually said, he said, why do things that cost more money last longer? He said it's got nothing to do with the quality of the product. He took two umbrellas and he said, sure, this one's made with a bit better, but why does this one last a month? Why does it die out? He says the person who pays $20 for an umbrella will leave it lying on the ground. They'll leave it open. They'll step on it. They don't care because I didn't pay much for it.
It's cheap.
But he said the person who paid $400 for an umbrella will put it in a case. They'll handle it with care. People who pay money for things handle it with care. That's why you notice even when we give out advice, I'll say something, an advisory point, then all of a sudden people start bickering in the comments. Why? Because those people don't pay for it. See, people who get free advice debate it. People who pay for advice listen to it. And they
don't have time to start debating with you.
They paid you money. They're going to take that advice and they're going to now implement it. I know because I've got paying clients and I've got the free chatter boxes in the comment section half the time. And I can tell you that there are lots of people who get good things from comment section. I'm actually proud of some of the people who actually do it.
Yeah.
But you get the people who get it for free. Okay. And unfortunately, what you get for free, you value less. So if you pay, now people, there's ways to pay. You can pay with time. You can pay with money. But just know that if you don't pay money, you have to pay really heavily with time. You have to invest time in something. So there are people who don't pay money, but they invest time heavily in what they're asking about. Those are the same. They're also paying, by the way, because your time is of monetary value. But those of you who are not paying, if you're going to get something for free, you're going to have to invest time heavily. Okay,
much more than you would take you longer.
Because the advice we give out on social media, I'm going to tell you a little secret. It's 10% of the full thing. We don't give you most of it. We give you the starting bit. That's all we give you. We give you the starting bit. The rest, which is now the detailed part, the action steps, the plans, the environment, that part comes at a cost. That's a reality, people. But we give you the starting point. And no matter how many YouTube videos you watch and how many things you get, the starting point is all you're ever going to get. That's a reality. So you're either going to have to attend things. Yeah.
Remember, I have this manual which I've created. See, just see the number of pages. It's a very big manual that I work with my clients. I'm not going to come to Facebook and upload it here for free. They don't work like that. Have you seen?
That's
So
not how
what we are
that's the
saying
reality.
here, guys, if you are serious about growing in your life, be willing to pay for things. I attend functions and I make sure I pay for functions I attend because I know when I pay, it is something to me. I'm going to pay attention. All right. Like I told you, I went to a workshop and I came back with a book. It was a VIP ticket I bought, and I came back with the book. And I'm reading the book, I'm benefiting. Somebody else went there for free because the options are for free 300, 500. But I have a book that is guiding because I paid a VIP ticket and I can refer to it anytime by the organizer of the workshop. So I'm able to learn at my comfort because I paid something. All right. So I'm taking care of this book. I'm reading it every night because why? I paid something for it. So there's a difference, guys. If you want to succeed, be willing to pay and be willing to collaborate with people who have influence in the field where you want to be. Don't criticize people you should be learning from. Avoid that. All right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people begin to criticize people they should be learning from because of 10 personal reasons. Please be willing to learn and pay for knowledge.
Here's a dirty little secret, people. Nobody talks smack about you who's above you. People who are above you, they don't have time to deal with you. The only people who have time to talk smack about somebody are people below them. You're supposed to be spending time learning. You're supposed to be gathering information. If a person is not useful to you, don't waste time criticizing them and then move on to somebody who's useful to you. Spend 95% of your time that you are learning from people, dealing with people who you can learn from. Do not spend time expressing to people who you cannot learn from. And we've been there. I've been there. I'm a hothead. I say things all over the place. But I've also learned that there's certain things I don't need to get involved with. There are people I disagree with and getting into debates. People, after a debate, all that happens is a few people press like on your thing. But has your life improved? Has your pay rate improved? Are you more knowledgeable? You've got more brand? Nothing. You've got nothing to show for your debating. Zero. Okay.
Zero.
I've looked at my life sometimes and I expended so much energy busy debating with people, but for what? Zero. Serve people and learn from people. That's the only way you develop in this world. Don't waste your time with these things. Serve and develop. So this is just that is part of this. Now I want to get back to this area of depth again, and I want to give you a clinical example. This is a global example on depth. All right. And the importance of getting into your technical depth. And this is an example from General Electric. General Electric being one of the biggest engineering firms in the world. I think everybody knows GE. You'll know their jet planes and everything. But this is the technical depth case study that I give all the time. So if you want to look at how to apply technical depth, this is 37 years of management. And just tell me if you can read it, people. 37 years of management of General Electric. And these are under two CEOs of General Electric. I got this after watching the interview of this second man here, Mr. Jeff Immelt. He admitted why he ran GE wrong. General Electric, by the way, they make all the turbines for your power stations, every single plane out there, those engines that are in there, General Electric. Came from the Thomas Edison company. Everything. General Electric is just the king of all of medical equipment. Everything. It's them and Siemens. But General Electric has been the number one in the world. Now, under 4 years of under Jack Welch, this first gentleman here was the CEO of General Electric from 1981 to 2001. He's a chemical engineer who started his job working at General Electric. So this is a story of technical depth, which is this one, versus diversification. So look at that, technical depth versus diversification. And this is happening to a big company. You can already see the numbers beneath. And I'll explain this. Jack Welch focused on General Electric's organic growth in areas they were technically good at. Where are we good at developing engineering products and engineering innovations? That was his strategy. Okay. So he focused on, and he was as a chemical engineer, he focused on the product. He focused on the product. So look at this. Look at the growth of the share price of the company: 2,892% versus the S&P 500, which is the broad market of America, which grew 850. This is 3 times, almost 4 times higher than the growth of the industry. Okay. Now take a look at their revenue growth during this period. The revenue of General Electric grew by 507% versus 229%, which is the US GDP. They grew 2 times the US GDP, and their profits grew by 834% at a rate faster than their revenue. So not only did they expand their revenue, they even grew their profitability because they focused on technical depth. In 2001, they bring in a guy who is a Harvard MBA graduate who believes in merging, acquisitions, doing all these other things. And this is what happens to General Electric over the next 17 years. He dropped the share price of the company loses 30%. Okay, 30% of the value of the company is gone at a time when the S&P 500 grew by 134%. So they went the other direction to the market. They started dropping. If you look at their revenue, it dropped by 42, almost half. They were now making half the money that they were making before. Okay, when the US economy grew by 84%. So you can already see, even though it was a slower period, but you can already see they were doing pretty badly. And then they went from profit making to loss making, but 144% down. By the time Jeff Immelt left, he was being interviewed on Bloomberg recently about his tenure, and he says, "My mistake was going from technical depth to diversification. I made a lot of bad investments with General Electric because instead of focusing on what we were good at." And now he runs his own venture capital firm, and he stresses the point from this failure of his management. He says it's extremely important. People, this is a direct case study of one of the biggest companies in the world. You are a startup. If they are facing these problems from diversification too early, or and this is how costly, by the way, diversification can be. You need to be very careful about running this whole multiple streams game before you've mastered one. Before you do multiple, master one and grow in things you can master. You master more things by then learning more things. You go into the same level, you give to the same level that you did, collaborate more, those things. So I just wanted to put out this as an example, and there are plenty of examples around the world where you can see people who have stuck to technical depth and versus people who have diversified too quickly and gone into trying to put their fingers into too much. It's a business school philosophy where we teach people diversify, but we don't tell them be very good, be world class. Because when you're good at something, Shadrach, I wanted to go back to this value part where I said in skills and preference, you're bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper. Why do people pay more? If you can produce more in a short space of time, you're saving people money. If you can produce better, you're saving people waste. If you can produce faster, you're saving people time. If you can produce stronger, you're saving people stress. Okay? So when you produce something that is stronger, people stress less about it. When you produce something that has bigger results, people spend less on it. When you produce something that's better, people waste less resources on it. When you produce something that's faster, people waste less time on it. You are saving people waste. So that is why they'll pay you a premium. Somebody will bake a cake. Why is it the person who's baking cakes for 900, 1,000 is outdoing you who's baking them for 300? Because the people are willing to pay that 900 because they know that extra 600 will come with less stress, better taste. They know these things are already going to come in there. You're offering them 300. Sure, you'll save them some money, but then they're going to skew when they taste your cake. They don't enjoy it. They're not happy. So you must deliver bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper. Where can you do that? Focus on those areas. Somebody was being interviewed once and said, I think it was Mark Cuban, where they said, if you were given this amount of time, would you spend it improving your weaknesses or improving your strengths? You know what he said? He said, if I improve my weaknesses, I at best can move from a 4 to a 5. I'm not great. But if I improve my strengths, I can become a 9 and become a 10 and demand and command more. Invest in your areas of strength, collaborate in your areas of weakness. That's what you need to start doing. Collaborate where you are weak, invest in your strengths. That's what you need to start focusing on. And I think I'll give you that before I move on to the next part. I don't know what your thoughts are on this specific case study we gave, and also just the idea of diversification, even in big companies. By the way, people, Zambeef is also another example. Just to add to this, Zambeef is currently selling farms. They're selling all sorts of things because Zambeef learned that the reason why they were struggling to make revenue and they're struggling to make profit as a company is because at the same time as trying to sell meat and all these things, they're trying to manage farms, they're trying to manage supply chains. They have sold farms all over the place because even Zambeef understood they must rationalize. So Faith Mukutu's job in terms of improving Zambeef actually focused on cost rationalization. And as a result, Zambeef is more profitable, their share price has doubled, their revenue has grown, their debt has declined. So if a company like Zambeef, which makes 3 billion kwacha in revenue a year, has to start doing rationalization to make sure that they focus, think about yourself as a startup. Who are you to diversify if Zambeef had to focus?
That's a fantastic point, Nyumba. And I like the point you mentioned when it comes to collaborate where you have a weakness. Guys, when I was choosing people to work within my business, I did not go and choose somebody who has the same skill set like me because I knew I'm good at these things. I needed to bring on somebody on board who is able to complement what I have. I'm good at finances. I'm gonna need a doctor. I'm gonna need somebody else. I'm gonna need a lawyer. I'm gonna need people that have different skill sets from me, so that we can complement each other. Because I need somebody who is useful to me as they are useful, as I'm useful to them. Right? So I must be useful to them. They must be useful to me. So that's how you complement each other. If one of you is useful, the other one is not useful, it won't last. So when you're going to collaborate with people, like by saying where you know you're not good, then you need somebody who is good to come and fill that gap. So where you are good, you focus on that. And remember, bring back your presentation. I want to point out something. There's something very important on that.
Yeah, I'll bring it back just now. I'm just putting it on. There we go.
So there's something, guys, that Nyumba shared here that I feel is very important. Just look at these two people here, Jack Watch and Jeff. Look at Jack and Jeff. See how many years Jack worked. 20 years. Do you see that? 20 years. 20 years of experience.
No, as CEO, not even
as CEO.
That's as CEO. He worked for 20 years before that in the company.
Have you seen? He worked for 20 years. So why did they appoint him CEO? Because of one thing. They knew this man knows the company inside out. He understands everything that needs to be understood. So it was a safe option to go with. And that's how he even succeeded. If you can see from the numbers on his side, they are favoring him. So there's also power in consistency.
Yeah.
If you want to master something, you want to be good at something, can you please be consistent? Because if you're not consistent at something, you can't finish. I always say there are people who are so good at being inconsistent. They start a relationship, they can't finish. Marriage, they can't finish. A job, they can't work. They start writing a book, they can't finish. They have this. They are just experts at being inconsistent. There are people like that. So you cannot be successful if you are so inconsistent. They said this business, they can't finish. They change. They go to charcoal. From charcoal, they jump. They go to fish. From fish, they say, you know what? I think there's too many mosquitoes. They go to Salaula. From Salaula, they jump. Guys, you cannot succeed like that. Consistency is key. There is power in being consistent. But because consistency earns you respect. Consistency earns you trust. People are more likely to trust you if you are consistent. Do you know why people fall in love with you? Or why you fall in love with some people? It's because they are consistent. They show you consistency. Don't just realize it. If you have this person you are seeing and they are like chameleons, of course you're gonna separate. Because there's no consistency, but when you see the respect is consistent, the love is consistent. There may be problem, but they are consistent with their behavior that you like about them. It's gonna last. So consistency is key. So when you want to diversify, don't just diversify because your friends are diversifying. No. Do you know why? When I diversify the number, now I can leave my business to do other things. I've mastered it. I know it is running on autopilot on its own. I'm here. I can be talking here. My business is running. All right. So even if I diversify into something else, I've mastered one that I know I'm gonna fall back on. No matter how things go where I'm going, I have one behind me that's having my back. All right. So when you master something, that no amount
I think we're waiting for Shadrach to come back.
of witchcraft to take it away from you. Understand that
You know,
aspect of things.
true.
And I think if yeah.
And
Takwaba
just something,
tinindo shisha station takwaba.
no, just something to add to that, Shadrach, by the way. Vusita Mokwai actually had this podcast he did where he said how to build trust. And he said there are three things you need to build trust. One is authenticity, two is consistency, and three is responsibility. Where you are authentic, consistent, and responsible, like people can see that when something goes wrong, you will figure out how to fix it. When people see that, trust starts to build. And trust is the reason why people will pay more for an international product than they'll pay for sometimes even a local product. Because there's a certain level of trust they've attached to that brand. Trust is the reason why people will no matter how much you drop your price, they won't leave your expensive competitor, because there's trust that that person has built with those people, that even in tough times they'll break their bank to work with that person. I just wanted to add that to what you were saying before we move on to the next one, because I think you had something that you wanted to share on your screen here regarding that last part where we were talking about even that part of Jack Welch and Jeff Immelt. And you know, there's something you brought up that's really important. Jack Welch was groomed from within the company. Jeff Immelt was brought into the company. You see the difference. Jack Welch had a strong understanding of the product with 20 years of experience before he became CEO. You all want to be CEO next week. What experience do you have in those products? You want to be CEO next week. So the thing is, first you have to build some experience in areas so that you understand the customer, understand the markets, understand supply chains. Because you have to have an understanding. You need knowledge, people. You don't have knowledge, it can be rough. Anyway, Shadrach, you're about to say.
So I think we can move on to the part now where we need to diversify. At what point do you diversify?
So as we've been talking about this example, and we've talked about mastery, so let's talk about the point where you have mastered. Now let's get ready for diversification. Diversification actually there is a path to diversification that you're supposed to follow, and this is called Ansoff's matrix, and it's something that we knew from a long time ago, and I've learned, and I want to show you the path you're supposed to take actually along Ansoff matrix. So it's not exactly, I know a lot of people say everyone has their own path. Here's what I always say to people. If you know your path, go ahead and take it. But if you're lost, use a map. Okay? If you're lost, use a map. But this is just something to help you out. This is called Ansoff's matrix of how to expand. So the first step you get into is this green part here. This is called market penetration. This is your core part. This is what you're good at. You get as many customers in this area. This is your core competency. Okay? And all your job to do to grow, you're only growing by getting more customers doing the exact same thing. So if you're Shadrach, you're getting family finance clients, or you're getting lecturing clients. This is your exact area. In fact, where you started, you're teaching. How do I get more? This is where you advertise. You offer discounts, you offer specials, you get customers, or you get referrals. That's what you focus on here. Okay, what you are already doing, you're doing an existing product with an existing market. That's what you're doing. Okay, existing product, existing market, you're just trying to do more. Then there's the other options here are product development, okay, where you have the same market, but now you're upselling new products. Shadrach will go from saying, I taught you, but I can also consult for you and your family and teach you family finance. I can help develop a financial plan for you and your family. Oh, that's wonderful. You've taught us family finance. Now I'm going to offer consulting services. So you're upselling. So you split the products. I can teach you bond education, then I can help you develop a portfolio. That's another service. So these are add-on services. Now, this is a good second step because you have already established trust. When you've established trust with somebody, it's very easy to bring in new offerings. It is very difficult to bring in new offerings to somebody who you have not established trust with. So start with the people. This is why I said after market penetration, shift to product development. The reason is this. Before you start selling your product into new market, it is easier to sell more to an existing customer than it is to sell what you have to a new customer. It's actually easier to add on services to your existing customers than it is to sell more to you, to sell even what you have already to new customers, because you have to establish a relationship, you have to establish a rapport, and cost of customer acquisition tends to be high, especially at the beginning of a relationship. Convincing someone, marketing, the discounts required, the time they take to make a decision before, because most of the products we utilize as people are the way we live. Okay, most of the drinks you drink are because of the way you live. The food you eat is the way you live. The clothes you wear are the way you live. The things you do are the way you live. And to change someone from their way of life, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of reasoning to do that. That's why even in my customer mapping, I'm very careful. I don't go after people who are not interested in finance. I don't go after people who are not interested in financial development, because that's not their way of life. I go for people who are interested in developing their finances. Okay, so that's why I put up content to do with finances. Those who are interested in it will then reach out to me and look for support services. That is what you do. Don't look for people who you have to go and twist their lifestyle, because they'll resist you. It will cost you a lot. Your marketing expenses will wipe you out, especially at the beginning. Look for people who already want you. So you start by penetrating a market, mastering that place. And then when you've mastered it, you've gained the confidence of the people you've already served. And then from there, you develop new products. When you've served a lot of people with these new products and you've diversified your products very closely to what your customers already want, your already existing market, you have diversified products by saying, okay, I'm going to start by offering content. Now I'm offering coaching. Now I'm offering consulting. Now I'm offering You're offering more to the same people. When you have confidently done this, because this takes less marketing expenditure, then you can now go for this part here, market development, where you take your portfolio of products to a new market. You start looking for new markets geographically, demographically. Maybe I transitioned from training people how to build portfolios to now going into the retiree management space. Those of you who are retiring with us, that's my next step. Maybe I'm looking at now offering a new set of products to a different country. Okay, but when you're looking for new markets, remember you have to establish deep relationships. In order to do this successfully, you need this base here. And Shadrach said it. He is comfortable with the fact that his business is already making money. He's comfortable with that. So his diversification into other markets now is okay, because there's already a cash flow engine here. Okay, this here is your cash. That's why it's at the bottom. This is your cash flow base. This is your growth opportunities. Too many of you rush here. Okay, without this. And what happens is when these fail or they go through difficulties, you've got no base of consistent cash flow coming into your business, and therefore you collapse. You've got no base. This is your base. You penetrate and then you expand your products through those customers. Then you start to go after these ones. When you have won these three battles, where you've penetrated the market, you've developed new products for your current existing markets, and expanded your portfolio of products into a new market, then you can diversify into new markets, new products. Okay, new markets, new products. This is called diversification. Now, the reason this actually works is I'm going to explain to you that this is actually even in the Bible. This is actually the four blessings of the Bible, where it says, and God blessed them, and he said, be fruitful. This is where you penetrate a market, you bear fruit, multiply, you increase the number of products. Okay, multiply. So you went from one product here, and there was a guy who was speaking who said, if you're making less than $1 million, you shouldn't be having multiple products. You need to have a consistent flow. You need to be consistent first before you can even get. If you're below $1 million kwacha and you're busy diversifying, you're actually causing yourself a lot more stress. So first, penetrate the market, get into your product development. Okay, then this is multiply. This is bear fruit. Okay, where you penetrate a market. Product development is multiply. Fill the earth. New markets. People, listen to that. Fill the earth.
Okay? Fantastic. Yeah.
And then dominate. By the time you're dominating everything by diversifying. Follow the procedures of the way God has blessed you. Bear fruit, multiply, fill the earth, dominate. That's when you diversify. When you have when you have built a product that can take you to 1 million, you've diversified across that same market, you've penetrated new markets with your products, and now you're diversifying into new products, new markets. That is when you can diversify people. But diversify first along your strength. Diversify the types of products and offerings you have, then go into adjacent markets, similar markets. Go to adjacent. So I've told people, let's do bonds for households. Now I'm starting to have the conversation about small businesses who need to build their base of bonds for collateral, for lending. That's an adjacent market. It's got a different need to it because these markets have different needs. You're serving different needs. So you need to have very close so that you have an understanding. Because a product, people, is a need. A product is where you're solving a problem. Okay, so they first have to understand the need and the problem very well to be able to fit it with the right product. But a lot of us don't do that. And then that's when you can diversify into areas that are different. And even when you diversify people, diversify with people in collaboration. Do not go and diversify alone. You will burn yourself there. Go into collaborative projects with somebody who already has an open door there and needs you to fit in. And that's when you diversify. Think it's like a musician. Imagine if a Zambian rapper decides they want to go and start doing Kalindura music just on their own. That's not going to
Yeah,
be safe.
it won't work.
But if they collaborate with a Kalindura artist, you see how easier that it is for them to now get into that market
Yeah,
and to try and experiment that. They can diversify their portfolio of music by collaborating. So first,
yeah.
collaborate when you diversify, then get very comfortable and entrenched, but don't leave your base. One final example I'll give Shadrach at this is think about the last election, and it's a bit political, but think about the last election. You notice that the UPND kept their strongholds. They
Yeah.
actually maintained their strongholds, be it southern, west, northwest. They maintained their strongholds. And what they also did was they got stronger in their strongholds before they attacked the weak spots. Before they diversified their base, they made sure they reinforced their strongholds. So always make sure you reinforce your customer strongholds before, because when things go wrong in new areas, you need to be able to retreat back to
To why
what you
you're comfortable, what you know.
so this is follow this, people. I'll say it again: penetration, bear fruit; product development, multiply; market development, fill the earth; diversification, dominate. It is in Genesis 1:28. Follow the word, follow the scripture, follow this. Trust me, it's a much better strategy than trying to dive. You
Yeah,
will burn your rockets. And I
yeah.
think I'll leave it to Cedric. What's your next one?
I think Munyumba, what you've said is actually very true. I'm just gonna add a few things, guys, on what Munyumba said. Just to I have this model, the same model that Munyumba is from sharing. It's the Ansoff matrix model. It's the same model. Now, if you can see here, guys, what we have. Munyumba's talked about product development. He has talked about diversification and others. So my own area of concern now at this point, guys, for me to just talk about this point here. Look at
I
that.
just put that back. Sorry about that. I think we took that off by mistake. There you go. There you go. There we go. We're back.
All right. Okay. So what I'm saying here, guys, is that okay, good. All right, fantastic. Okay, so Munyumba was talking about this, and Munyumba, you've done a fantastic job. Job well done. That's pretty clear and very much fantastic. So, guys, if you notice what Munyumba was saying on the green side here, on the market penetration, this is the part where you protect. A lot of you diversify, neglecting your source of income. In business, guys, learn to protect your source. Protect your source of income. No, there are things I talk to when I come to social media about my business, and they tell, but I don't share everything about how exactly I make money. How exactly do I get a person to come and pay for this? I don't share that information with you. Where do I go to advertise? I don't share every single detail about how I make money, because it's important for a business person to protect the source of your money. It's very important here. So when we talk about market penetration, this is the area you must be able to protect and build, as you can see. Protect and then build. Protect and then build. Because this is like your backbone, like I was saying. This is your backbone. You need to protect this source and then build on it. Do not neglect your source. Before you diversify, you must have protected the source of income, and you must have built on it so strong that even if you crashed where you're gonna go, like remember saying, you have home to get back to. No place that is sweeter than home. All right. Then just to make you a bit of notes here. Remember, I talked about product development. All right. Now you've customers. You're now saying of course you can see there's existing market here and the existing product to current customers here, but now you want to maybe have a new product and sell this one into the existing market. So what are we talking about here? Look at it, guys. For you to develop a new product, remember that this is a new product. You want to sell this one to current customers, like we were saying. You need something. First of all, understand yourself as a business and as a person. Look at your existing capabilities, the skills that you have right now. Do they support this new product? That's very important. A lot of us just diversify without understanding our strengths and our weaknesses. This is why more often than not we crash. So understand your existing capabilities, the skills that you have right now. Can they support you to diversify into this one? And then number two, ask yourself, what type of new capabilities do you need for you to succeed? So when you look at what you have right now, and then so you can find, I have this already, this is a good thing, but what do I need for me to be able to be successful? So now you have to nurture new capabilities, new competencies, new skills, new ways of doing things. What is it that you need to top up on what you already have so that you can succeed when you want to go and develop this new product? But of course, the third thing, guys, you must always perform beyond current expectations if you're going to make it. You can't perform the same way you've always performed and expect a different result. No. So before you can diversify, ask yourself these three questions. What am I good at right now? The capability that I have right now. What do I need to top up for me to succeed? Maybe you need to acquire a new education. I am doing a CFA course right now, guys. Why did I do that one? Because I needed to acquire a new qualification to add to my capabilities. All right. So when I stand in front of people and I begin to talk about finances, they're going to say, this guy is a CA, is a CFA, is a what? Because I have the technical know, I have the knowledge. So I'm building on what I have already. So I'm nurturing a new skill. I'm acquiring a new qualification. Right. I'm an MBA candidate right now. So I have these qualifications coming up because I'm trying to improve my skills. All right. Look at here, number 3, you perform beyond expectation. That's important. Before you can move to something else, understand these 3 things, answer these questions. If you are finding it difficult to understand what you need to have, then you have to stay here where you are protected, where you are safe. All right. And then look at that. Once you are comfortable with this area, like I was saying, now you come to market development. So as you go into different markets, don't try and satisfy all the market at once. No, that's not how it works. See, the first thing you want to understand is which territory are you going to do better among all the territories. So first map your territory and say, okay, fine, I'm going to start with this specific territory here. Or maybe it's a segment. Which segment? All right. So you have to understand that. Understand the capabilities that you're going to require to be able to succeed in this territory, this segment, whatever it is. Then perform beyond current expectations because there's somebody already there who is performing. So for you to succeed in this market, you must perform beyond current expectations of your clients so that they can say, look, there's this guy, there's this lady. So let's go to this one. So this guy is in the red flag. I remember saying diversification is a problem because, see, to diversify, you need to look at your existing capabilities, new capabilities, and then you have to perform extremely well beyond current expectations. And if you're unable to do that, you're going to sink. So if you look at it this way, for you to grow as a company, right? Remember, I talked about all these 4 here already. I'm not going to talk about them, but I'm going to just quickly jump onto this one here, the market penetration. And I'm going to tell you something here. Look at it this way. Remember, said something very important. He said a sensible choice for you guys to grow your market. First of all, can you build the base? Because you have that base, the penetration, right? Because the base gives you bigger potential demand as time goes by. Because you have people that are existing. If you convince them, you persuade those who are with you already, they are going to buy more. They're going to tell their friends, so you're going to grow faster. Like remember I was saying. But again, persuade customers who have not bought from you. But how do you do that? Can you give them some promotions? Can you make some offers? Can you spend money on advertising so that people can get to know about you? Can you show up where you need to be for you to get where you need to be? Can you advertise? Spend money to get where you're supposed to get. All right? But because no matter how good you are at something, if you don't show up, if nobody knows who you are nothing. So there's power in showing up. Keep showing up, keep advertising, keep coming on Facebook, keep talking, keep posting, keep telling people, keep doing what you're doing, so that people are going to be forced and look at you as an expert. There's a reason why people call us. They say, can you come and speak at an event? Hey, Shadi, can you come and speak at an event? There's this, can you come and help us with this? It's because we keep showing up. You guys keep on seeing us, so that you begin to trust us, because we're always here talking to you about these things. So there's power in showing up. That's how you maintain your base. But again, if you look at the development phase there, how should you do it? All right, remember, I talked about it. Start selling in the new geographical markets through regional, national, or international. So what do you do? First, start locally. In your vicinity, community, you try it first to see how it's going to work. Then you can begin to go to the national level and possibly then go international level. That's how you expand, all right? But again, you must offer slightly differentiated versions of existing products. Why should somebody buy from you? That's the question you must answer every time before you diversify. If I go into this product, into this business, why should somebody buy from me? What will make somebody come and buy my product? The key, it must be slightly different from the current existing version. So create something different from what you've always have created. That is going to force somebody to come and pay you extra, because when you go to Angry Lion, guys, people say at extra chips, big chips, small chips, premium, whatever that is, it's because you are paying more money for extra value. So before you diversify, can you consider also the extra value you're going to add before you go into this packet? All right? Or maybe simply make these products sometimes available through different distribution channels. Maybe the product is good, but you need to enter a new market. How do you do? Maybe change the channel of distribution. Now, for me, I've diversified. I have students in Mumbai, I have students in India, I have students in the UK, I have students in Mauritius, I have students in Uganda, Kenya, and Botswana. I have students everywhere. What did I do different? I diversified. I changed the different way of distribution. I'm not going to go and meet you physically, but I'm going to learn with you online. So that way it helps me to connect with people in the UK, in India, Mauritius, Botswana, Kenya, even Uganda. I have students there. How am I having those people from there, those clients there? But because I've changed my distribution channel. So you have to understand, when entering the new market, what value are you adding? Is it the way of delivery, or is it the way, the difference in the value of the product? That is key as you are diversifying into a different market. So you have to understand those things. But again, if you look at product development here, why should you choose this strategy? You have to ask yourself, do you have a strong brand as a company or as a person? All right? Mm-hmm. Do you have a strong brand? Because people should trust you for them to buy from you. So if you have a strong brand and you can extend the goodwill to new products, then well and good. It's easier when you have a strong brand to diversify. Like Nike, they can simply make any different kind of shoe and you buy. Adidas, because they have a strong brand. Samsung, iPhone, Apple, those have strong brands. Unilever, they can do anything and succeed because the brand is stronger. So how about you? Create a brand, build trust, keep showing up, collaborate with people that you need to collaborate to get where you need to be willing to spend money. All right? Do you research before you can diversify? Do some research so that when you're going to diversify now, you've done your research, you have these things properly, new design, new team, everything that is fantastic on board. All right? But again, what makes you choose this strategy is for you are trying to respond to a new product by a major competitor. Maybe a competitor has made something different from you. Now you want to compete. So how do you make something much more better than your competitor? So don't just diversify. What is it that is making you diversify? You have to understand, why are you diversifying as a business? What is the issue here? All right? It could be you're responding to a competitor, or maybe you are responding to changing customer needs. So you have to understand, what are the needs of my clients? Have the needs changed? If the needs have changed, then you need to diversify. So you need to change with the customers as well, so that you can maintain them. So don't just diversify. You have to answer these important questions. What has changed in the markets? Is there a new competitor or are the needs changed? Is the test changing? All right. Is the use changing? Is the technology coming on board is different from what we already have? What is it? So by the time you're going to diversify here, all right, we call this one concentric diversification. I'm not going to go into details. There's what is called concentric diversification and then conglomerate diversification. Just to give you an idea here, guys, this means that the new product market area is related in some way to the entity's existing product and markets. That's how you diversify. So sometimes you can diversify into something totally new product, new market. But there's two ways. It's either concentric or it's either conglomerate. What does that mean? It means concentric means the new product and the new market as something similar already to the existing product and markets of the company. So you can quickly move around the change of that particular market. Conglomerate, on the other hand, means that the new product market area is not related in any way to the existing product and market. So when you're diversifying, are you going into something totally, completely different, or are you going to something that you already have something similar with? So you have to understand the levels of before you diversify. All right. Now, this could both be achieved, guys, by either acquiring existing companies. That means partner with somebody else who's in that new product or that new market. Partner with them so that you reduce the stress. All right. Or maybe you can do it yourself. Or maybe you can acquire a company. All right. And things like that. So you can see, guys, that diversifying is a risk. If you're a big business, you need to consider this. This is why, guys, you need a financial advisor. You need somebody to take you through. Look at the data we are giving you here. All right. We charge people for this information. And we are trying to simplify it as much as possible so that our audience can be able to benefit. All right. Look at how we are bringing this information to you. Now think of it if you came as on a person who said, "What? Hey, I'm Nyumba Nshadi, I want to sit down with you guys. I have this amount of capital. Please help me. I need to diversify." We are going to sit down with you and take you into in-depth understanding of your business to help you see areas where it is good for you. All right. This is why you need somebody to advise you. You can't grow alone. You just can't. You need information. You need collaboration. You need knowledge. You need advice so that you can go to where you need to be. So I think this is a very fantastic point that you have brought to the table and that we have shared with our audience. And I hope, guys, that this helps you in some way, and this helps you to see that it's okay to diversify, but there's a whole huge chunk of things behind. This is why you see somebody goes to buy fish in Mozambique. They come and they sell, they make money. You go to the same Mozambique, same river, same fish. You come to Lusaka, you make losses. It's because you've not understood what is behind the market. Same fish. I see people, but they go to Siavonga, they go to Mpurungu, same fish, same everything. But somebody gets money, they become richer. Yes, somebody makes losses. Why? You need to understand the markets. So guys,
and just in closing, Shadrach, I think on my last point, I wanted to bring up certain things you need to understand in your journey to greatness. And I want to share 3 things with you. I want to share something called the hedgehog principle, the hedgehog concept, the 6 principles to a yes by Robert Cialdini, which actually affects why, by the way, why you get it, why you get a yes. And I want to talk finally about synergy, why some of your expansion is dependent on your synergies. So let's quickly start as we in the final stage here. And everyone, these are notes you should be taking. We're sharing models with you that you have to understand and things that we've had to test as well. Robert Cialdini has in his book, The 6 Steps, Influence the Power of Persuasion. The psychology of persuasion. He gives you 6 factors that lead a person to say yes. And he tested all of these. This guy really was a marketing genius. And these principles work up to now. Most of the advertising that's done to you, it's there. The question you need to start looking at is behaviors of people. You know, when you're going to, if you're selling a new product to an existing client, the reason I said product diversification is because once you have dealt with a client, you understand them. You understand their needs. You understand their culture. At that point, you're able to fit a new product into their life. You're able to understand. And it should be something you're able to deliver. People, if you're not able to deliver, collaborate. Like, you use it as a collaborative tool in order to enhance the experience for other people. That's why partnerships happen, where people partner, and then they bring in new products. But in order to sell to someone new, you have to understand, you have to develop reciprocity. Reciprocity is when you give someone something more than they expect. The value of what you are delivering to them outweighs the cost that they're paying, and it must be a surprise, something they were not expecting. People are more likely to say yes when they get something more than they were not even expecting. He gave this example of somebody who gave extra mints at the end of a meal at a restaurant. The guy just came and gave an extra mint. He said, "You people are really nice. I'm going to give you an extra set of mints." He said he found that the tips that they were getting were 25% more than the people who are not giving those surprise extra mints. That is called reciprocity. When you give someone something more than they expect. Scarcity. What is the reason? He said British Airways had a flight that was going off. That was nobody was booking. Then they said they were about to terminate that flight and stop it. They found that the sales grew by 5,000%. Why? Because it was scarce. It was unavailable. It wasn't available easily. So is what you're offering to this new market, when you're going into a new market and selling to a new person, is it scarce now? Okay, is it more than they expect? Are you exceeding expectations? Shadrach said it. Exceed expectations. Are you surprisingly exceeding expectation? Are you an authority in that area? Why am I good in the Zambian market when it comes to financial analysis, and you don't find me doing the same in the American market? I'm not an authority in America. Okay, I don't have licensing. I don't have experience in their market. When I speak, I do not have authority in that country. I have authority here. Okay, so are you an authority there? Or do you have access to an authority who can speak on your behalf, who can give you that credibility, that borrowed credibility once in a while, if you lack the credibility when you get there? Do you have do you, are you is what you're offering, and this is an important one right here, consistency. This is actually one of the most important factors, by the way, in getting someone to say yes to you. Is what you're asking them to do consistent with smaller things they already do? I said it before. I don't market to people who are not financial enthusiasts, people who are not already trying to fix their finances, because asking them to invest their money is not consistent with what they're doing. Okay. So I market to people in a way that is consistent with what they're doing. That's why my biggest avenue is being on Money FM. That is consistent. People who listen to Money FM are likely to follow me for financial advice because they're already consuming financial information. Therefore, they already have an interest in it. And therefore, they are willing to then take financial advice. I am not going to try and market to people who are listening to, I don't know, gossip. Okay. Because I'm sorry, you're not gonna find me marketing my services to a gossip celebrity. No, go and share go and share my stuff on your page. Because people who are listening, it's not consistent. Okay, that's what I'm just trying to put to people as well. And we'll take, yeah. Sorry, I think yeah, we'll point out, yeah. So look at consistency. By the way, people, if you've got some questions, please prep them. We're gonna take a few questions very quickly. This is an extended session because this is a very important thing. Finally, also liking. Are you somebody who they can like? And why do people like certain people? It's not just because you're the same. One, it's because you're the same as them. You've established common ground with them. Two, it's because you are helpful to them. And three, you're complementary. Okay? So it's helpful, common ground, complementary. If you can establish those three things with people, then you'll notice that they'll like you. And then the six is actually the biggest one. One of the reasons people do things a lot is because of social consensus. In that market where you want to sell to, have you established social proof with your customers? Okay, where you are right now, you already have social proof with people. When you're diversifying into a new market, do they have social proof of you? Do they can they say, okay, you've helped people in our situation? Okay, I can say that I've helped Zambian families establish bond portfolios. So
Yeah.
therefore, a Zambian will come to me and feel comfortable working with me. So this is point number one. I want you to look at the six principles of persuasion are very important because you can find yourself selling the exact, and this is what Shadrach was talking about. Same river, same fish, no profit, because you have not established the need. Okay, that is driving people. So you must know the people and their behavior before you can convince them. This is why when you're marketing, understand the customer's problem, their pain, and what's the situation it's put them in. That is a very important prospect to know that. Now, the second concept I want you to know very quickly is what we call the hedgehog principle. Things you should be focusing on. Shadrach was talking about your capabilities. So you want to focus on things you should be looking at. This comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. We're going to be focusing on this book next week, but this is the hedgehog principle. Focus on three areas. What are you deeply passionate about? In other words, where is your energy going to come from? What can you be the best in the world at? This is your proficiency. And what is your economic driver? Where is there a problem that people are willing to pay for a solution? Answer these three questions before you go around diversifying yourself. Are you deeply passionate about this? Are you
Yeah.
proficient in it, or are you potentially proficient? Does it just take, like Shadrach saying, he's going to be a CFA, he's learning to be a CFA, because that's an area he has potential proficiency in. Okay, he knows he can do that, and therefore he can be very good at it. So look at your potential proficiency and then look for a problem that people are willing to pay for. That is where you expand into. I listen to customers who ask me questions and say, "Sir, do you also do this?" And then I look at my skill set and I say, if there's a yes, and then I start getting constant requests, I start building a product in that area. So please, that's what you need. Please look at your hedgehog concept. And then finally, just to finally put this away, synergy. When you want to expand with the help of others. People, this thing of trying to be a hero and expanding on your own will lead to your demise. So expand with the help of others. These are these are 4 levels of synergy that you need to start looking at. And I'm going to focus on the top 2 here, but really they're here. So when you're trying to expand, sometimes you get revenue synergy. Working with somebody can increase your volume of revenue. They can increase, you can leverage them for sales. They can have distribution channels that you didn't know. You can improve your product portfolio because now they can add to it. I work with Shadrach on certain products because there's skill sets he can bring in that enhance the ability to give that customers a full service. In terms of pricing, sometimes working with people can increase your pricing because the two of you working together limits the supply on the market. It improves the benefit to the customer, so you increase the supply. This happens between me and Shadrach as well. Already, people, we're doing this. We're not just talking about it. That's what we're
We're not
doing.
talking about something we're not doing. This is what we do. This is what we are doing right now, guys.
So then the other thing you can look at is cost synergy. A lot of you don't focus on revenue synergy, but also focus on cost synergy. A synergy can help decrease costs, eliminate redundant processes. There are things he does, there are things I do. Maybe I'll do the client onboarding on this side. He won't have to do it. That's an hour spent with difference. Okay, so we can end up just fishing out some of the tasks, eliminate some of the operating costs tied to those redundancies. Maybe we don't have to, or maybe we can share a premises. You see, these are things you can start to look at. And instead of having to work in different premises, you are sharing them. This is a synergy you can come across. Decrease variable costs, negotiating with suppliers. If two of you are coming together, maybe one is baking cakes, the other one is baking cupcakes, and you're working together, you can now buy flour in bulk. And that reduces your flour costs together, and you're sharing a lower flour cost across your products. Cost improvement as well because of efficiency. This also happens. Other things you can look at are what we call capital synergies, where you reduce your fixed costs. You can sell off redundant properties. This is what some people do as well. You've seen that whenever two companies merge, a bunch of people get fired as well because they're redundant. We don't need 2 accountants in this area. We don't need two operations directors. We don't. You get fired. You can improve your working capital by renegotiating terms of accounts. Because you're bigger, the two of you can go to the joint pair can go to a bank and get much more better services from a bank. Other financial benefits is when you're bigger, sometimes you can get reduced taxes if you increase your interest payments. Maybe the two of you are coming together, you reduce interest payments. You can leverage any deferral taxes. Somebody will come here and say, I've got some deferred taxes here. We put that together, we can defer some of our tax payments. You can pool resources that can allow you to now borrow better. You can borrow more at cheaper rates. So when you're looking to expand, sometimes look at synergies. Synergies are very important. Find areas where you can work with someone and you work with them either to collaborate, coordinate, coexist, cooperate, coexist, compete, comply. There are various things that you can do. And I just wanted to share these 3 things. Look, before you diversify, understand the 6 principles to a yes, according to Robert Cialdini. Understand, is it part of your hedgehog concept? And thirdly, look at synergistic opportunities before you go into diversification, because that can often help reduce your costs. And these are the methodical ways. This, by the way, Shadrach, again, we say this is why you people need to start investing in getting
Yeah,
good knowledge from people. So I just wanted
yeah,
to put that down there. If there are any questions that we have, we've asked people if you can share some of your questions. We'd be quick to answer them. If there's something to do with this concept we've been talking about, and we hope you've actually managed to go through it today. We've talked about depth. People remember we started by talking about depth. We've talked about 4 levels of depth, examples of General Electric mastery. We've talked about the Ansoff matrix and when it's good to diversify, and just some concepts at the end, such as the hedgehog, the 6 principles to a yes, and finally synergies as well. So there's a question here from Mr. Charles Sampa who said, "Is there anything like a freelancing market if that is not healthy? Sorry, is there anything like a freelance marketer if that's not healthy based on the passion you spoke about earlier?" The the freelancing industry is often an entry level point. Freelancing is
yeah,
often the entry level point to being an entrepreneur.
yeah,
The reason is this, and it's actually one of the best places to start. Okay. You can still be passionate in an area of freelancing, because freelancing just means you're not tied to a company.
yeah,
So you start by just being a lot of people, let's say, who are in financial education will start by just on their own. They're not going to really set a company to it or anything, and they're just offering services to people. Some people, especially those who are in consulting, will sometimes just offer services as a freelance consultant. They're not really formed a company, but they're just offering it as a service directly before they go structured. It's actually a good way to start, because you haven't really put all these structures around before you've cemented the need, because you need a product and a client first before you form a business. People, somebody
yeah,
has to be
yeah,
willing to pay you money for something. So freelancing is a nice way to start, but you don't stay there.
yeah,
Eventually, you
yeah.
formalize, you build around it. So find your passion area, start by freelancing. It's actually a good way to do it.
Uh,
Start by it.
and guys, just to add to that, you see, I want to make it very clear here. All right, we should draw a line when it comes to passion, because people say when you do what you are passionate about, you're more likely to succeed. I just told you that I do what I'm passionate about. For example, I love to share knowledge, and I make money out of sharing knowledge. So for me, I make money having fun. All right. But I want to be very honest with you. There are sometimes where you are passionate about something that can't pay your bills. So you must understand the difference here. If you discover your passion cannot pay your bills, can you put your passion in the bin for now? Go and make your money from something that pays you well. Don't have to love it, but if it can pay you, focus on it. Let it pay you well. Then once you have enough money, you can now go and do your passion. If you're passionate to help people, to have an NGO, you can go and open an NGO, then begin to help people. I see poor people opening NGOs. They say, no, it's an NGO, let's open. Come on, you're broke. You don't have money, you have no house, nothing, no capital. And then you have an NGO that you're going to be helping people. It's a foundation. For what? What do you have? So before you can have a foundation, and this is where I feel the authorities in this country should come in, because we have a lot of guys from Facebook and Facebook pages opening foundations, but they have nothing to themselves. They have nothing. So this is why corruption is coming in now, because somebody who has a foundation has got nothing. So they can give in a small token and they'll accept it. Have you seen? So first of all, differentiate passion with income. All right? Because your passion, if it's not paying you well, put in the bin. Go and do what pays you well, what pays rentals, what pays your bills. When you have enough cash, you can go and now get your passion out of the bed, begin to focus on it. Like people who have money, they say, "What? I'm going to have a foundation, the Obama Foundation, the whatever Mark II Foundation," because they have the cash to support it. So differentiate passion with money. I think that's very important. And then another question, Nyumba, here from
before we switch on to that one, I just wanted to maybe just before we get to that one, because this one is quite in depth. People, this conversation about passion, you have to be very careful also. This thing
yeah,
about passion, there's a lot of love for self. Okay.
yeah,
A lot of what you think is passionate is also just your ego. Some of you people think you're
yeah,
passionate about singing, when really what you are is you're just passionate about people liking you. You're really just
Yeah.
passionate about yourself, and you want people to like you. So you have
To
to
know
ask
you.
yourself, if this thing didn't come with fame, would you do it? That's true passion, because it should be
Yeah.
about doing it for the betterment of others. Because the
Yeah.
reality about doing things for the betterment of others is your likelihood of being paid is because of the energy that you're willing to give to those people
Yeah.
who are in a
Yeah.
problem. So that's why
Yeah.
passionate people succeed. Passionate people succeed when it's truly passionate and it's not personal aggrandization and it's not ego driven. It's somebody trying to go out there to better a community or to better a cause. They're going out there with something. That's a true passion. And the impact is
Yeah.
mostly felt by others, not yourself. So there's a
Yeah.
selflessness to passion. If it's just, oh,
Yeah.
I love singing because people cheer for me and they clap for me, and then when those people are gone, what are you going to do? Are you going to love singing? You don't love singing, you love yourself. So I think there's a
Yeah.
difference, people. You need to be very careful about this. You love yourself, and be very careful about thinking you want to make a living loving yourself. You can love yourself by looking in the mirror if you want. So that's why I would like people to understand passion is important, but please make sure it's true passion for
Yeah.
others,
Yeah.
not for
Yeah.
yourself, because that's where you're not going to do that properly. So yeah, let's move on to I just wanted to put that in there so people are more careful about this passion conversation.
So
Okay,
there's this
so
is night Adino.
yeah,
Adino.
yeah, and he's right. He's written. What do you do when your business outgrows you as an owner or the leader of the business? Two, in a case where one is profitable, the business is where one has a profitable business, where there was a lot of growth and you're profitable, but stuck year in and year out at the same profitable level. What's your advice? And why do you think Zambia is failing to create lasting, scalable entrepreneurs? And for how do you know when scale? How do you know when to scale and how to scale, knowing that not all businesses are scalable? Okay, let's answer these one by one.
I think Mnyomba, and just to first we even save time. I think most of these we have answered in
Yeah,
the answer. I
yeah. I'm
think
just
we've
gonna
answered
stick. I
most of
mean,
this.
I'll
Yeah.
stick to yeah. So I think what do you do when your business outgrows your owner outgrows you as grows you as an owner or the leader of a business? Hire people. When your business outgrows your 24 hours, that's when you
Hire
create
people.
jobs.
Yeah,
Hire
hire
people.
people.
Find competent
Work with
people.
somebody.
Yes, collaborate and hire people. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Number two, in the case you have a profitable business and it's stuck year in year out in a specific place, that's when you have to start look. That's if you're stuck at a certain point, and yes, it is profitable. That's when you start looking at how to do things new. If you're stuck in the same place,
Differently.
you're a target. By the way, you're a target for competitors to come in and wipe you out. So you should
Yeah.
always be growing, but then that means you have to look at a way to do things differently or to
Yeah.
venture into new places. As long as
Add
you've got that
premiums.
established, as long as you've got that
Add
established
value.
base. And what's your why do you think Zambia is failing to create lasting entrepreneurs? Because most entrepreneurs are pursuing lifestyles and not really pursuing a meaning. The
Yeah.
reason why their ventures are not lasting is because they're not going beyond trying to be profitable for themselves. They're not trying to look at how to improve society. Yes, you need to make money, but make money doing something that is positive for society. Okay,
Yeah.
and you actually enjoy that positivity. That's what will make it lasting. So please read the book Built to Last. That's what we talked about last week. Last week we talked about last principles. So go through that. And how do you know when it's time to scale? We've been talking about it.
Oh, I
When you're
think we've
at that
answered that one
point,
already.
we've answered that on the diversification path. Follow it. You should always be scaling, by the way. It's not about, first of all, you should always be scaling your business, always be growing. It's the speed at which you're scaling which you need to watch out for. That's the important part. All right. I don't know if there's a next question
Yeah.
or any other thing you want to throw in.
Just so Noah says, what do you think Zambia is failing to create lasting, scalable entrepreneurs? Also, partly because we don't have an enabled business owners with knowledge. We don't have interest for knowledge. We don't learn. We are so comfortable with little profits. That's how we get wiped up so easily by competitors.
Cars.
So the moment we begin to learn, yeah, Mnyumba, cars. We just have a little profit to buy cars. We have Facebook entrepreneurs, people that want to show off. No, whatever. Let me say it this way: our entrepreneurs are like, whatever time life yapa fancy. You know that yapa fancy, that's Bemba. The life yapa fancy, but no, you know, that's
Switch
kind of
off
life.
Facebook and let's see if you'll still be an entrepreneur.
Facebook entrepreneurs. That's why they don't last. But for whatever that is, life yapa fancy has contributed. If we can have people that are focused on knowledge, learning, improving systems, product development, penetration, diversification that is properly calculated, then they can last because they have something bigger than themselves. There's a question
Right,
down
fine.
here, Myumba, from Charles Sampa.
No, there was one
maybe you
just
can
before
take
that
this.
from
Okay.
Isaac Chesu, who has said he's asked. So
Okay.
they've asked the question: is a business idea more important than capital? Capital is there are 5 things that are important to a business. Okay, 5. And it's in this order. This was done by Bill Gross, who studied 200 startups, 200. And he asked, which is the most important factor? Number 1 is, does it meet a growing opportunity? Is there a growing opportunity in the market right now? Is there a trend in society that supports that product? Number 2, the talent of the team. Number 3, the idea itself. Number 4, the business model. Number 5, the capital. Capital is the least important out of all of them because you need those 4 things. But even more than the idea, timing. Have you timed the market correctly that the product you're about to release is actually in line with what the needs of the market are? Because you can have a good product and nobody wants it. We tried selling financial advice and trading products to people back in 2011. Zambians were not interested. Okay, after 10 years of financial struggles under the last 10 years of life, Zambians are now interested in improving their financial state. So that's a timing issue. I can tell you that, for example, in my experience over the last 12 years, when I first came in, selling portfolio and financial services was very difficult. Today, selling financial services is much easier because the people have changed their culture and their mindset.
Yep.
That is timing. That's the most important thing. Exact same product, different mindset of the customer.
And just to add on that, I think Fizak has a very good question. Fizak, an idea is fantastic. Like I said, there are 3 lenses at which we look at business. There's the experience lens, there's the design lens, and then the ideas lens. All right. Without ideas, there can never be anything. Everything that you've seen that has come into reality is because somebody had an idea and then they thought of how to bring it into reality. All right. So ideas are important, all right, because they arise from what patterns of behavior and activities within and outside the organization. So this can encourage initiative, can promote motivation, can promote knowledge management, and also innovation. So an idea is actually an asset, and this is what I think. I think sometimes God speaks to us through ideas. Each person has a thought that pops up on their mind that if they paid attention, they could change their life. So when you have an idea, it keeps on popping up. Guys, sometimes God reminding you of what you need to do. This idea keeps on coming up. Sometimes you have to see something in here and then see how we can bring it into reality. So an idea is business idea more important than capital. Guys, you don't need the money up until you know where you're going to spend it from.
Otherwise, you'll burn
it. This idea is like the driver, it's the engine. You don't need the money up until you have a plan.
One thing.
All right.
Implementation of the idea is the single most important thing. Implementation. Having an idea, yes. Implementing that idea is actually the single most. How you implement it and the success of the implementation of the idea is much. That's why banks will want to see your sales progress before they give you one where, because they want to see how well you've implemented your idea. Charles Sampa. Final questions will go ahead for Charles, saying, at what level does a salesperson diversify into an area as an employed person? And he gives an example. He says, I love to sell product A, but another company has hired me to sell product B. That's my real situation here. What's the best approach of switching? When you're doing sales, and as any other person, is you've really got to say it's your market that will determine you. One, it's your market. And this is not an easy situation, by the way. What you love to do and what you've been hired to do are 2 different things. So at this point, you have to first get good at what you're needed. You need confidence, by the way. When you're really selling, the first thing you want to build is your confidence, and you get built. You build your confidence by doing something you're good at. So the question I'll ask, which you haven't brought up in any of these situations, is which one are you good at? Which one are you good at? Because that's what's going to tell
Yeah.
me where you should be going. Because what you've been hired to do, sometimes people are just trying you out, but what are you good at? Which one do you know very well? And which one, Charles, do you understand the customer's need better? Do you know their problem? There are 6 P's in selling to someone. I want you to write these down. You must know their problem, the situation they're facing, the complication. You must know their pain, the you must know the pain, what they're feeling. So there's what they're facing, that's the problem. What they're feeling, that's the pain. Then there's the prescription. What's the general thing? Okay, number 3 is prescription. What's the general thing to solve their problem? Then pivot is where you enter your mission. What am I good at? What am I really here to good at? Number 4 P is pivot, where you introduce your mission and the thing that goes beyond money that makes you want to solve their problem. So they are confident in why you want to solve their problem. That's how you sell to someone. And then the 5th P that you're looking for is where you position yourself. You look at what they've tried and how it has failed. Now you position yourself to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, cheaper than any other thing that they know. And then finally, you talk about your product and explain why. Don't just bring your product from day one. If you understand the journey from someone's problem to their pain to the prescription, like a doctor, to the prescription, to a pivot, to a positioning, to a product, if you can tell that story, that's what you should be selling.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And just Charles, my brother, maybe just to ask you a question, ask yourself before you switch, where are you getting the most money from?
Yeah.
Because you need the money, right? Diversification should give you a benefit. So where are you getting the most money from? Is it from doing it for yourself or where you're being hired? And the other question is, can you do both? If you can do both, do both. If you can't do both, answer this question. Where are you getting the most money from at the moment? Because for now, no matter how passionate you are, you need the money. You need the money.
Most profit, not just most
You need the
money.
money.
Sometimes you get paid a lot of money, but the costs are also very high in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Where are you making
Yeah.
the most margin?
Why are you making the
Okay.
most? That's the question. Why are you making the
Where's
most?
the margin coming in the most? Because it's true.
Yeah.
Shadrach is right about money, but just make sure that you're not making money to the point you're taking home. Where are you, in fact, let me put this way. Where are you taking home the most money? Because that's where
that's the question you
need
should
to
answer,
work on.
guys.
Yeah, give yourself just
So-
a
so-
final
so-
thing. Just a final thing, as in Patrick, but David said this. He has something called the 20-20-20 principle, where he said the first 20 years of your life, your adult life, you spend dedicating yourself to one industry and making a lot of money in that field. Like dedicate yourself to one place, focus, learn everything, become a master. Then from there, you've built wealth, diversify into whatever now you feel that is the things you feel strongly about. First, give to an industry, and then you end up building a lot. Then you can get the emotional part. Okay, you can get the emotional part. So give with your heart, get the money, then give the money and get the like. There's a different way you can do it. So first, you want to do is give yourself to an industry, then become very good at it, become very well known. When you've got your base and you're well known, then you can switch into the things that you've got your strong
Yeah.
heart about. But first and foremost, people
Yeah.
get good at something. Get really good at something. Don't run around the
Yeah.
bend. Get good at something. All right, I think
So,
from
guys,
there,
we thank you so much. You guys are awesome. We always appreciate joining us here. You are fantastic, and you're doing the most to further your, your knowledge of understanding. As you can see from tonight's, I think remember this was a deep session. We encourage you guys. We have a class that is coming up next month on family finance. Actually, it's this month on the 20th, I think somewhere there. We announced the date. Register for family finance. We come and help you at a personal level. If you're a couple that wants to have a proper financial roadmap, please come through. We can be able to assist you. And there's an ongoing course for Bonj. When the next stream for Bonjication, remember?
the next stream, we're actually switching to a big announcement is coming with Bonjication. We are switching to an online platform where you now be able to do it on demand when you want, straight and start when you want. And we are loading, starting this week, we're actually loading up a new product where you can track your portfolio using our very well built spreadsheet tools, which we're actually going to be utilizing. You can go through it online. So we're actually selling those out now. We've started pre-selling those, but those are only for bond education graduates. So we're switching now to being more of a service, while also now giving you content you can actually access at your own pace, at your own time. And that is going to launch by the end of this month. And we're going to be announcing a new service before the end of this year. Okay, a new service for all those who want to be trading bonds. You want to keep an eye out for that. A new service will be coming out by the end of this year. For those of you that will make your life easier, it's going to make your journey much faster. So we're doing product development in those areas right now, but we're launching our new spreadsheet tracking tools and also financial advisory tools for those who have completed bond education. Please check it out. You'll see it. We're actually doing that right now, and bond education online is actually coming very soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate.
Guys, please post what your biggest takeaways from today are. Please post that. Go back to some of the concepts. Stuff was really important. Have a wonderful and blessed week, guys. Let's grow together as a country. Want to see you all succeeding. Peace out, everyone.